Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Listen here, this is a fact of life. I be rapping like Nat Turner came back to life. Grab Donald Trump by the pussy, he ain't acting right. I never run from a conflict, I be glad to fight. It's a very cold world that we live in. Somebody please tell Elizabeth you're not an Indian. You just trying to con them people to get the benefit. Just another immigrant, stealing from the Indians. That's some punk ass shit and that's too lame. Now we finna step over to Andrew Yang. And you a sucker, you could never speak for black folks. Fake ass pandering, trying to get the black vote. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You know your boy be high off sativa. Kamala wasn't popping, so we said bye, Felicia. She ain't had a right policy. We ain't trying to meet her. Y'all can take Biden too. Bye, we don't need him. We don't need Roland Martin or that coon Al Sharpton. Didn't need Cory Booker from the start, man. I don't fuck with police and no snitching. You know I'm coming with the heat when I spit it. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. If you ever go to court and this is your luck, try not to get fucked by Benjamin Crump. I know it's hard. You and all go is hard. But who the fuck is Amy Cloak? Put her picture up on the bullseye and start throwing darts. People cut our organs out our bodies, that's a stolen heart. They can't save us from the flood like Noah's Ark. Black lives always matter, we finna go for ours. So then we savages, we don't need to pot the piss. Mike Bloomberg can suck dick with that stop and frisk. Bitch, you ain't speaking for us, we don't know you. Bernie Sanders, and get your funky ass on too. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me.
I'm talking about Schnatter going crazy. People going crazy in them motherfuckers. Run that shit back, man.
But it's nothing. Nothing. Got a woman on the bed. Man made the car. Man made the train to carry the heavy load. Man made the electric light to keep us out of the dark. Man made the boat for the water like the 7-millimeter. Man thinks about a little bit of baby girl and a baby boy. And man makes them happy because man makes them dark. But after man make everything we can, do you know that man makes money? To buy from other men. This is a man's world. But
Greetings, Black family. Greetings. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Front Line Blacc News. I'm your host, Shane Crewman. Lady Che is here as well. She's asleep right now. I hope she wakes up and is able to join us. And our West Coast correspondent, Pakistan Corey, will be joining us here shortly as well. And on tonight's episode of the Front Line Blacc News, Season 4, Episode 6, Part 2, we'll be discussing, Part 3. We'll be discussing the topics we didn't get to last night. Those topics are Tim Scott, The View host, attacking me for being the only Black GOP senator. Oh my God, Uncle Tim Scott, y'all. This brother Robert.
You tap you?
Chef Rob. Hey, Chef Rob. Chef Rob, can you hear me? Chef Rob. Peace. All right. So yeah, Uncle Tim Scott talking about the View hosts are attacking him for being the only Black GOP senator. Then the next topic is CBS Mornings host Gayle King, Gayle's homegirl, Oprah's homegirl, dragged for telling Black coach she cheered for Caitlin Clark. And if we have time, some other news, such as a group of snow buddies attempt to drown their token Black friend, the Vivek bad salami, very weak response to Ann Coulter. Symone Sanders goes off on MSNBC over Trump's legal victories. Then we got Kathy Hochul's racism is nothing new. Rapper 50 Cent defends Black kids attacked by Karen Governor Kathy Hochul. Then we got a 21-year-old who was jailed for 10 days after oversleeping and missing jury duty. And if we have time, Papa John Schnatter criticizes Shaq's role as face of Papa John's, calls it racist. So a lot of topics. We had some unfinished business from yesterday. So yeah, Tim Scott is the king. Will be the king of the House of Negroes. Yep. Big time. That's the same one that said America is not a racist country. I repeat, America is not a racist country. You're stupid. Any Black person that says that's mentally brain dead has to be. Okay, Chef Rob. Go right into it with Uncle Tim Scott. So Lisa's gonna give us the update on Uncle Tim Scott interview on The View. And he claims that the hosts of The View were attacking him for being the only Black GOP senator.
Family, it's good to see you all here. We're going to first, before we get into Tim Scott, we're going to talk about the U.S. Senate. And this is their 2024 picture. And you can see our people are just not there. All right. And it just proves once again, thank you, Flora Turner, for the super sticker. It just proves again how racist this country really truly is. And like I said, all of politics in America is rooted in racism. And it's not hard to see how that happens, being that you got a very white U.S. Senate chamber. All right, no doubt about it. So how old is the U.S. Senate? How old is it? The U.S. Senate is 235 years old. 235 years old. So it was established on March 4th, 1789, in one of two chambers of the U.S. Congress under the new Constitution. This makes the Senate 235 years old as of 2024. The Senate, along with the House of Representatives was formed following the ratification of the U.S. Constitution, which created a bicameral legislature at the federal level. So 235 years. And in 2024, they have one Black senator. That is a horrible track record. It is a horrible track record. And it just goes to show you it's not a diverse country like they claim. It's not. You know, they say all the right words, but the actions don't match the words. That's a problem. So the first session of the U.S. Senate was held at Federal Hall in New York City. Now, at one point in time, y'all, the capital of the U.S. was New York City before it changed to Washington, D.C. The creation of the Senate was a result of the Great Compromise during the Constitutional Convention of 1787, which balanced the desire for equal representation for each state in the Senate with representation based on population in the House of Representatives. All right. So, how many Black senators have been in the Senate, so, you know, since it was established? 11. 11. That is pathetic, y'all. That's pathetic. And it just proves that this country can talk all the diversity crap all they want, but at the end of the day, they really don't want that. Diversity in words only, not in action. That's why they're getting rid of DEI, and you see your Senate sitting there and they don't have no issue with that whatsoever. Right? So as of 2024, after 235 years since the founding of the U.S. Senate, there have been a total of 11 Black senators, and these were different times and eras. All right, so here's a list. Hiram Revels out of Mississippi served from 1887 to 1871. So this person only served 1 year. 1 year, that's it. Blacc K. Bruce out of Mississippi served from 1875 to 1881. Edward Brooks out of Massachusetts served from 1967 to 1979. Carolyn Mosley Braun out of Illinois, she served from 1993 to 1999. Okay, so she was actually the first Black woman in the Senate. So they had to go all the way up to 1993 before a single Black woman made it into the Senate. That's not very impressive, America. This list is not impressive. So Barack Obama, Illinois, served from 2005 to 2008, and that's because he became the president, 44th president of the United States. So he served 3 years before becoming the president. Roland Barris, who actually took Barack Obama's spot, he served from 2009 to 2010. He was an appointee. All right, because Barack Obama's seat was vacant. Tim Scott, he was appointed to the Senate by then Nimrata, she appointed him when she was governor. And so Tim Scott did not win an election to get in there. He was appointed, and that was back in 2013. So since then, he was reelected, and he is still the present day only Black senator. for the Republican Party. The only Black senator for the Republican Party. Mo Cowan out of Massachusetts served temporarily in 2013. Cory Booker, who is also a Democrat, served from 2013 to present day for the Democratic Party. Kamala Harris, which I put the name of the present song that's out, Not Like Us, because y'all, they need to stop lying to us about Kamala. Kamala is an East Indian. She is an East Indian, and they need to stop lying about her ethnicity. And there's too many indicators. Kamala don't bond with the Black community. Not at all. She doesn't try to bond with us either. So, so they got her, Kamala Harris, served from 2017 to 2024, becoming vice president of the US. And I put in parentheses, not like us. Not like us. Because she's not. All right. And they need to stop lying about this. And Raphael Warnock, who ran for Senate, and he's also a Democrat. So the Republican Party, as you can see, had a total of 3. I want y'all to take notice to that. The Republican Party, from the time it began to now, has only had 3 Black senators in 235 years. But this place don't want to be reminded about how racist they are. 3 Republicans. No, I'm sorry, 4. 4 in 235 years. That's still not really that much better. That ain't too much better. 4 Republican senators from 1789 to present day. Now, the Democrats, they're really not that much better, but they at least had 7 in 235 years. Well, the way I see it, y'all act like you got a problem with Black people being in the Senate. It's very apparent. This is a dismal record. This looks really bad, America. And it just proves y'all talk all the diversity stuff, but at the end of the day, you ain't down with no diversity. You should just admit it and be done with it already. All right. Let me get old Timmy here. Let's see. Okay, let's see if I can get him. All right, here we go. So, Tim Scott recently was in the news because this man is so goofy to me. I don't know. Tim Scott just seems like a goofball to me.
Oh, Uber Eats has groceries now? I gotta remember that.
You know, the best way to remember something is just forget something.
What'd you forget?
Hard to say.
I know what you forgot.
So he was referring to The View on this one, said the hosts were attacking him again for being the only Black GOP senator. Well, I can understand their point. That's why you act like a raccoon, because at the end of the day, there is no other Black faces there. Now, they said he is pretty tight with Cory Booker, the Democrat. But at the end of the day, There's no other faces on the GOP side but his. 4 in 235 years. So Tim Scott got some nerve bringing up that he's the only Black in the GOP and he's being attacked for that. I thought you said America is not a racist country. So what are you whining about, Tim? So Tim Scott of South Carolina, Republican, criticized the host of The View for attacking him for being the only Black Republican senator, but said the Black GOP has momentum. 4 Black senators in 235 years, and this man said they got momentum. Ooh, man, Tim, you are one lost dude. I'm never surprised when the ladies at The Views go at it again, he said in a video posted on social media platform X. They're attacking me for being the only Black Republican in the Senate. Scott said, time and time again, the women of the talk show have helped defeat Black Republicans who are running for the Senate. No, they're getting defeated because those districts they're running in, they don't want them. They don't want that Black representation. That's why you're the only one sitting there on the Republican side. This country is still very much racist. They don't want Black representation for their state in the Senate. That's why you're the only one there. America is showing you who she is. The North Carolina senator was responding to comments made by co-host Sunny Holston, who said if Scott were picked as the former president's vice president, he wouldn't help in gaining Black voters in the upcoming election. That's exactly what we have said. Tim Scott cannot inspire the Black community because he's so disconnected from it. He can't do those things. This man, he has no ties to the community that he comes from. People ain't feeling no Tim Scott over here. Come on. No, he can't help Trump. And Donald Trump assigned him to help get Black voters. Donald Trump is naive. And you can see he's not that well connected with Black people because he don't even recognize the fact that Tim Scott is the last person he should have assigned to get Black votes. Tim Scott is really an adversary of the Black community. He really is. So Scott, who suspended his GOP primary bid back in November and later endorsed Trump, talking about Donald Trump, I love you. Sound like an idiot. Is rumored to be one of the potential running mates for the former president. If anyone think that Tim Scott is going to bring over a bunch of Black men, they really need African-American senator in the Republican Party for a reason, Holston said Friday, as the women discussed the lawmaker would help Trump attract the most voters. Former Trump administration aide Alyssa Farah Griffin, also a co-host, said Democrats have only had a few more Black lawmakers.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that local recordings are now available on StreamYard. Have you ever done a recording where your guest
So Tim Scott was just whining, just to sum it up in a nutshell. Tim Scott was whining about how he's being attacked for being the only senator. And they also brought up the history saying in 235 years, there's only been 4 Black Republican senators. All right. So Tim Scott is making this claim that the Republican Party with the Black GOP are gaining momentum, which we know that is false. And let's be real, y'all. The people in our community that will vote for Donald Trump, they're voting for Donald Trump. Okay? You don't hear any of them trying to be down with the GOP or go around MAGA and all them. You don't hear that because that's not happening. The ones that support Donald Trump, they are supporting Donald Trump only, not all of the GOP, not MAGA, not any of these Republicans out here. They're not running full throttle and trying to, support these folks. But this is what Tim Scott is saying. And if you remember, Donald Trump hired this man to try to get the Black vote. Tim Scott is just too disconnected from the Black community. He is too disconnected from the people that he comes from. He don't represent us. That's why he can sit around and say crazy stuff like America is not a racist country. Because, how do you say you're connected with the Black community and you're making statements like that? You don't have any connection with us at all. And Donald Trump, it just tells me he really don't know our people, because if he really truly knew our people, he would never have selected Tim Scott to be the one to try to rally for the Black votes. If Tim Scott came to your neighborhood right now and said, I'm going to be at your local stadium and I want to talk to Black Republicans, I doubt if 3 seats would be filled. I'm serious. I doubt if he could get 3 seats filled in the stadium. He couldn't do it because people ain't feeling him like that. And in fact, the Democrats really ain't that much better. You got Kamala out here, and Kamala don't resonate with our people. And besides, her ass is an East Indian. And y'all need to cut the crap about her being a Black woman. Kamala is not a Black woman. She is an East Indian woman. She's Asian. That's what she is. And Kamala is another one that can't rally the Black community. She can't do it. She can't do it at all. So Tim Scott got a lot of nerve, So when you say The View is attacking you for being the only Black senator, stop whining about that. You said America is not a racist country. So why are you contradicting yourself and now saying they are picking on you because you're the only Black senator? Well, that's not possible. You said yourself it's not a racist country. So that can't happen, Tim. That can't happen. You can't, play both sides of the fence. Either it's racist up in this mug or it's not. But this dude is playing both sides of the fence. Another thing that will never resonate with the Black community. You trying to, one day it's not a racist country, and then the next day you're being attacked for being the only Black senator. Then the next day you said Trump being on trial is just like Black discrimination and all that stuff. Man, get out of here with all that crap. For real. He don't know what he wants. He's just all over the place. Yeah, well, South Carolina, I don't know what y'all were thinking putting this man in there. Well, I know what Nikki Haley was thinking because she says the same thing he does. But as far as this man being in there for the Senate, No. You know, and they said they expect Donald Trump to announce his VP in the next 60 days, so around July. I don't even know what it's taken him so long, but I guess he got all those trials going on and everything, and whatever. But you know, I have been on sites, you know, news sites, and just looking at comments, and y'all, Donald Trump don't have the votes like you think. I know, you know, we keep hearing Donald Trump does. I see an awful lot of people that look just like Donald Trump said they don't want to vote for him because he's a criminal. They are calling Donald Trump a criminal, and they said they don't want that criminal back in the White House. And yeah, and as far as our people, he got some Black votes. He don't have an overwhelming number of Black votes. I mean, come on, he got some. He may get a few percentages more than what he got in 2020, but I don't believe it's going to be as overwhelming as some people are claiming. He got some Black votes. Oh no, I don't blame you for choosing the couch. So Tim Scott can miss us all with that. They're picking on me because I'm the only Black senator. You can miss us all, Tim. You can miss us all. Why don't you go sit with your fiance and tell her maybe she'll care, because the rest of us don't care at all. Oh yeah. Y'all, this must be this year, after looking at Candace Owens' fall. We saw Rob Smith almost get the brakes beaten off of him in a bar by white supremacists. This must be the year of the fall of the coon. Yep. You know, I don't know. I would like to believe that. I would like to believe this is the year and this is the fall of the coon. I want to believe that, y'all. I'm going to choose to believe that. I'm going to choose to believe it. So y'all, how you doing, True Royal? So y'all, I just want y'all to know there's a lot of great stories out. So I'm not going to have no problem doing live streams almost every day based on some of the things that are going on. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And again, thank you, Flora, for the super sticker. And please enjoy the rest of your day, family. You know, maybe the next time I do a live stream, I'll open up.
All right. Thank you, Lisa, for that commentary. Chef Rob, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
All right. What are your thoughts on Uncle Tim Scott? I was going to play the clip of him on The View.
Now, I saw that. You don't have to play. I saw that nonsense, man. This dude's is just like I said, he's like king of the house Negroes, man. So he may be like running for like emperor of the house Negroes. So I mean, like all of the house Negroes on the planet, he'd be in charge of. But that guy is just really, really twisted. This is a classic house nigga suck up. Okay, that's all he is. And to say that the nonsense he keeps saying, you know, like there's no racism in America. Really, what America you been in? Where the fuck have you been?
Exactly.
You know, so I be trying to get. I would like to see some of them guys go ahead and come on the block, come to the hood, come to the ghetto, so to speak, and go ahead and spew that nonsense.
I would love to see it too, but I don't see it happening.
It ain't gonna happen, you know. And I think sometimes some people have challenged them to go ahead and come to. But the sister just mentioned about his girlfriend. This dude is gay, man. I don't care what it's him and what's that other dude, man?
Cory Booker.
Say no, I don't. That one I ain't really looked into him. I'm looking at the other Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham's gay too.
Yeah, so is John Pierre.
Which one is that? That one I don't know.
The press secretary.
Oh, okay. So they, I'm not, and I'm gonna put it out how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm not supportive of shit eaters. Okay, I don't care what you say. I think it's a fucking health issue. Well, a man wants to get his own shit in his mouth, and that's disgusting. And you go ahead and get your own shit in your mouth as you going ahead and you letting your boyfriend bang you in the ass, and that's disgusting.
I agree. That is disgusting.
I have to go ahead and deal with. That's no reason I keep saying when, not if, but when I leave the country, I'm up because I want to go back to Colombia, but I think about going back to Africa, and I know they don't tolerate that over there like they do over here. And I remember, like, what was it? Uganda talking about going ahead, killing them and throwing them in jail. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And for a place, man, I've been to Kenya, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I met a lot of women in Kenya, and I met a lot of women. We went to a lot of parties and stuff, and a lot of women from Uganda, and some of the thickest women you've seen in your life. So, and I met some women that came from Yemen also. But I just don't understand. My point is, I just don't understand how you can go ahead and find another man fascinating. I see the same thing as far as women's concerned too. I don't see how you can go ahead and find another fascinating. But being a man, I just don't understand how you can go ahead and find a man just sexually attractive. That's some sick ass shit. I got into a discussion with my cousin. It wasn't heated, but he's gay. This dude spent 20-something years in the army and married some guy he was stationed with. And I'm like, man, this. It's just sad. Him and my cousin and his brother got into it about that whole thing, and it has something to do with, hey, that's not how you were raised.
Yeah.
And I didn't catch the beginning of the conversation, but I just happened to walk up on it, and before I know it, his brother was bopping him and bopping. His brother also spent time in the army too, so these two vets was rolling around in the front yard, man, and my gay cousin got the worst of it, because I could see the hurt in both of them's face, but it was more hurt in the older brother's face. That, hey, look, you and one time he brought around this beautiful dark-skinned sister, beautiful. Yeah, only come to find out that she was a lesbian, and they was going ahead and pretending to be married so they can go aheend and get benefits from the military. Man, that's nasty. Man, it's nasty. I don't see it as something that it's sick to me. I think it's some mental stuff, and I see it to where individuals go ahead and say some things like they was born gay. That's a goddamn lie. Exactly. I mean, I got a few kids, and I've never seen them go ahead and pop out the womb and well, I got daughters. Okay, so.
You remember that video of that sister? She had just had a newborn baby, and she was talking to the baby, talking about, you gonna be gay, baby, you gonna be gay, baby.
No, I didn't see that, brother. Man, don't make me vomit, brother. That's disgusting.
What is this?
You don't remember that, Lady Trey?
No.
It was like a year or two
sounds
ago.
Stupid as hell. Who says things like that?
Who say stuff? See, and see, I'm bringing that up on the whole gay thing. As far as black people is concerned, that was something.
I don't like that shit either. I feel like I have like a whole bunch of stuff pointing out for my show, but lately it's been like that. It's been a whole agenda.
It has been. It's been a plan. It's been a plan for a long time. Mm-hmm. It's been a plan for a long time, and the thing is like this is what's honestly what's making us weak as a people. I mean, we got a whole bunch of other issues, and you worried about what you want to do with your.
Them must got more protections than us. The same protections that our ancestors fought and died for us to have.
Right
now, they're benefiting now.
So go back to your ancestors. If you go in, you do just a little bit of research into the sex thing during slavery, even prior to a lot of brothers and sisters coming to this country, that shit was forced on them, and now you accept it. That's nasty, man. That's disgusting. It's really gross. And for Tim Scott, I can't remember who I think it was Cat Williams who was talking about all these guys going ahead and getting these.
This beginning of the year.
Yeah, it was mentioned about how these guys, all these entertainers get a certain type of wife, certain type of woman, and Tim Scott, that woman was brought to him. Okay, that one was brought to him. You know, it wasn't somebody he met at, maybe met online or met at a bar or met at a laundromat or something. That shit.
At all, it seemed like not only is he gay, but then he had the audacity to quit for what? For a white girl that he didn't really fucking with. Like you don't ever see him doing anything with this white broad at all.
No, that's why I say it's a made up shit. It's some disgusting made up shit. And it's too many. I disagree. I try to express myself and let you know. Wow, black politicians are the worst as far as dealing with other black folks.
Unfortunately,
yeah, they you know, then you got your preachers and all this other stuff, but these are like the worst poverty pimps are out here, man.
You got the 3 P's. You got the pimps.
Yep. Pimps, pushers. It's more than 3 P's. It's almost a lot of the fucking top P's: pimps, pushers, prostitutes, police, preachers, you know, politicians,
and Pookies and Ray Rays.
Yeah, man. So those are the ones that
black brothers to run for office when this was the leadership that they were used to seeing. So when you get a solid brother in there, then they get the side eyes and questions too, and they don't deserve that, especially if they try to live right.
The sister said there's only been 4 black senators.
Yeah.
In a whole 225 years of the Senate and the House of Representatives.
That's true too.
And some of them early brothers that was like in the House of Representatives, you know, they weren't coonish like a lot of people think. They were actually trying to stand up for black folks.
Yeah, Adam Clayton Powell comes to mind.
Right. When it said we weren't in a racist country, we've seen that today at City Council.
Mm-hmm. We were in the middle of a whole City Council meeting, and they had these two young sisters were up there speaking about the racism that they're experiencing at school. And some bitch out the blue named Chase something gonna hop up there on the Zoom. I don't know how she got access to the panel to get on the Zoom like that, but she gonna get on the Zoom calling them a bunch of niggers and go back to Africa
and promote the Palestine shit.
You know what I started telling people because all of us experienced that. And it's like, hey, look, you know, yeah, I'll go back. You know, first off, you know, let me go ahead, buy me a plot of land over here. Give me some, you know, give me my money. Before I leave. But you got to give me my ticket and give me some money to send me back. I'll go. Me personally, I'll go gladly. Bye. You know, I ain't got no business being this motherfucker. Hey, let me tell you about my experience today. Okay, motherfuckers. Okay, I got 3 traffic tickets a little while ago, right? I hadn't planned on buying no fucking city sticker, a sticker for my license plate, and then I ain't give a shit about buying no more insurance because they went from going ahead and having like me paying $1,300 for 6 months to $2,400 for 6 months.
Hell no!
I was like, man, you can keep that shit. Yeah, man. And this is what they told me, right? They said you had 3 accidents. I said, you know, in a traditional sense, I didn't have no accidents. Yeah, and so you saying 3, and I'm trying to tell you that one of those goddamn things you saying, I wasn't even in the country. So how do you screw my shit up? Because people sideswiped my car. You call that an accident? My car was parked, and then another guy sideswiped my car. So how are you gonna basically call that a fucking accident? And so they said, well, you know, and then they said that I call for services. I live in Chicago, man, and you know, goddamn well, it get cold here too. So it was freezing. I told them to come on out, you know, start my car a few times. So it was like, oh, so I got to pay for these services, but I can't use them. So what kind of fucking shit sense that fucking make?
It's highway robbery.
Yeah. So and the judge told me, he was like, okay, well, this was like the second time going back to court. So he told me that, okay, I brought in proof that I had to buy those stickers and go ahead and get some insurance. I got some cheap shit, you know, so I don't really need it. But he told me, hey, look, I'm gonna have to still after paying the money for those fucking things because they ain't fucking cheap. So I still had to pay $100 fine plus $250 court costs. And I was like, hold on, man, why is the court cost more higher than the fine? Right. What the hell kind of stuff is that, man? And you know, he didn't want to go into that. He said, well, you're going to be on supervision for 4 months and all this other stuff. I was like, man, I just can't wait to go ahead and finish doing what I'm doing here and leave. What reason I ain't been around? I got to go ahead and let you know, brother. I'm working on something with this group here to go ahead and run some culinary classes and to do some of the stuff I was doing with my foundation. So I got to put together, you know, it's like about 5 different things we're going to be doing, and I got to go ahead and write out all this stuff to go ahead and show that this is what I intend to do. And so they can go ahead and work on get me. It got like 2 banks going to be coming into this group, and they're going to go ahead and try to get me some money. So that's the reason I've been kind of busy with that. Plus, you got to take the I had my food sanitation certificate expired. I had to get the manager's one. I had to take that test because I hadn't taken the test in a long time. Me having a restaurant in Columbia, they ain't looking for that. And then I got to go ahead and do the pay for the one that's for the city of Chicago, man. So I've been kind of busy with that. And plus I got my kids and some other stuff, man. So I seen you send me messages on Facebook. So, but I just been busy.
I understand. Okay, well, I'm gonna move to the next topic. Unless Lady Trey has anything to add about
No, I think he's lying ass fucking cooning. I think he's just lying. He's a cool guy, and not only that, but I mean, like, just watching city council today where that lady, when they went off on them, they said the N word hard R like fucking like 4 times, man. And, I mean, I was taking a nap. That shit woke me up my sleep. I was ready to get just throw some hands. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, "Wow, this is city council. Like, this. Like, I'm running a cold. Like, I got a cold right now." It woke me up out of my sleep. And I was just thinking. The moment I heard that, that's all I thought was I was ready to start fighting, you know, because I don't like that shit anyway. Like, don't do it in front of me, you know what I mean? But I was like, God damn, this is city council. And they let it go on for like about 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was yelling through the house, like this is just ridiculous.
I was live streaming the whole
He was
thing.
live streaming it. And I was in the back room and he's in the front room, I'm in the back room. And because he signed us up to speak.
Yeah.
And I had overslept, and I guess we weren't called up anyway. But
no, we were at the bottom of the list as usual.
I was like, man, this every time something juicy happens,
they keep changing shit. Like these motherfuckers. Oh my gosh, these motherfuckers. I was just goddamn nerve check, Rob. So they keep changing the times that you can sign up to speak now. So you used to have until like 5:30 on that given day to sign up to speak on the public hearings. They limit that shit to 3 p.m. now. So you got the limit on that, and then you got the limit on the public comment, general public comment session, which happens before the city council meeting, or it used to happen before the city council meeting.
And you're right, Desi. I thought that they always have Mondays, right? On Monday at the beginning of the month is when the students can go in there and chop it up with the city council and tell them, you know, whatever they need or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought it was one of those Mondays. But we're like in the 3rd Monday of the 2nd Monday of the month, right? 3rd Monday. I think we're having 3rd Monday.
We're on the 2nd Monday.
So they already spoke. So whatever happened today was like out of pocket, and then we're just seeing a bunch of racist things that happened in our city. So I was like, he's a liar. Like we don't even have to live in a bad neighborhood to see this racist things happening all over the place.
Right.
To Black folk, and especially right now, I don't know what it is, but them Palestine people feel emboldened to take out their crap on us.
That's the same people that got George Floyd killed.
It just seemed like that today, didn't it?
Yeah.
Hold on, back up a little bit. Let me show you something. Remember when, like, when they right after they killed Gaddafi? Gaddafi was not as bad as these people say. Just like I tell people to go ahead and research Idi Amin because I still keep hearing nonsense about him. But you go ahead and look what Gaddafi was doing for his people, and they don't have that no more. I mean, if you're married, you got a house, you got money, you know, it's free education. They ain't doing none of that shit now. But also you start looking at how the Arabs never ended slavery.
Never.
How they was snatching a whole lot of Black folks trying to go ahead and get in boats to go ahead and sail across the Mediterranean to Europe. And they was going ahead and kidnap them. They still doing that shit to this day. And then I did like a short blog talk radio show about that on all of the fake outrage by Black folks. What is now? I knew then. Yeah, I knew then that all Black folks, once they go ahead and see shit in the media, they don't stick with it. Okay, so
Our spans are so short, Chef Rob. It's really sad.
It's real sad, you know. Just like, let me back up and go back to the gay thing real quick. One of my cousins, her daughter went on prom, okay, or the last few weeks. I think it was last week, whatever. So she thinks she's a boy. But the crazy part about it is she's dressed up like a boy, but she then convinced another little young female.
Intelligent diagramming easy and helps your.
I'm still here.
No, she convinced another young female to be her date. I mean, if you look at her, man, I'm like, man, this what the fuck? And then like her grandmother is standing there like, you know, she's proud of her and all other shit. You should be fucking embarrassed about this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I just couldn't go ahead and believe that. This is a fucked up mentality. The bullshit that our people have gotten involved with, and it don't stick to what the shit that's hurting us. This shit is hurting us. The whole fucking slavery thing is hurting us. You got to be careful if you're even traveling through parts of like North Africa, because they will grab your black ass and go ahead and throw you into slavery. Yeah, so all this fake outrage, but not dealing with real shit. What's the latest fucking outrage? I keep on ahead and say
the teacher get fired for having his kids, students take his braids off.
Yeah, it's like you don't go ahead and see him stick to nothing. I mean, who really picked up the torch from when Martin Luther King died, when Malcolm X passed? Nobody. And you go ahead and look at, okay, so the shit fucking died. And these white boys know it. They know if you go ahead and you knock off the leader, ain't nobody gonna step in his shoes. But if you go ahead and you look at like what's going on with a lot of these Arabs, I think they what is his name? Hosni Mubarak. He said it good. He said, hey, look, George Bush, you come in here blowing up Iraq. You was worried about
weapons of mass destruction.
No, he was worried. He was talking about, hey, look, you come over here to blow up all these Arab countries, and what do you think you did? You killed Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden. He said you done just created thousands of Osama bin Ladens, and we ain't got people like that. We ain't got nobody to go ahead and step in and say, hey, look, we gonna go ahead and do that. No, they still run around blowing up shit, putting on strapped on suicide vests and all the other stuff. But you got the bootlicking ass house niggas going ahead and telling you, hey, look, racism don't exist in America. So, and it trickles down to a lot of pro-black folks. Ain't none of them gonna go here. And not too many of them I won't say none of them, because I feel I'm one of the ones. I feel your brothers and sisters are one of the ones. But I feel that a lot of black folks are not gonna step up. And they go ahead and when I go ahead and mention stuff like this, like, oh, Rob, keep that black shit to yourself. We want to go ahead and get drunk. And I'm like, dude,
that's what we get. We get the same shit out here, Chef Rob.
Yeah, man. Keep that black shit over there.
They tell us that shit.
That's fucking sad, ain't it?
It is sad. It really is. I mean, I ran on a Black First platform here in Denver, Colorado for mayor, and I got, oh my God, humiliated, laughed at, scoffed at, got my intellectual property stolen.
Damn.
All kinds of
shit. That shit is horrible, man. They don't know how to behave, and they want to.
All because I wanted to do for black people first.
Exactly. And they say we're be done, and then they want to go steal everybody's ideas. And this is ridiculous. We worked really hard on that. This motherfucker's put up $15 million to make sure I'm not.
Whoa, really that's fucked up.
Really worked hard.
You know what I keep saying? When people always go ahead and say, when you want to go ahead and keep something from us, put it in a book, right?
That's what they say.
So I keep on saying, hey, look, I agree with that. But here's something, let me add to it. You can't just go ahead and let black people know, hey, what I'm doing for you is a good thing. You got to fool and trick black folks because they don't fucking go ahead and want to get along with the program. They ain't gonna. A lot of motherfuckers ain't gonna research, and what they research, they're gonna go ahead and try to jump on the other side of what you're saying to discredit you every fucking time.
Yeah, just like the white supremacists, they try to take both sides of the argument.
Mm-hmm. I don't get it.
Either, Chef Robert, like, why are you working against us when we try to do something that's bigger than us for you? Why do you gotta do that? That's so stupid and backwards.
Because they got that cracker chip in them. They got that cracker on their shoulder. They do that stupid shit.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you go ahead and say, hey, look, why are you being a volunteer Klan member? I don't get it.
Exactly. Right. That's basically what it is. That's basically what they have to do.
Yeah, master. I'll get them niggas straight. I'll go ahead and do what you need me to do.
Here, that's Democrats, because we're a Democratic haven, just like Crook County. These damn fucking blue, no matter who, motherfuckers. Oh, we ain't ready.
I don't see either party, Democrats or Republicans beneficial to us. I go ahead and I look at it like this. Democrats was for slavery, right? But you go ahead and look at what a lot of Republicans are saying. It's like, they repeating what the old Democrats are saying.
Yeah, so the modern day Dixie Carrots.
So it's nothing's really changed, and you can't point that out to people. I mean, if we're going to go ahead and vote on our own interests, you have to go ahead and say, well, the Democrats are close to what can help me. But you go ahead and look at the platform with a lot of Republicans, they're for rich folks. Because you go ahead and look at what Trump did. We're going ahead and putting this country $2 trillion more in debt. Yeah. And then go ahead and look at, he looked out for his rich buddies. And so we need to pull our heads out of our ass and create our own party. But it's hard to go, just like what you just went through. Oh, yeah. You couldn't go ahead and get a lot of black folks to be like, okay, well, let's go ahead and have our own black party. Let's have an all-African party, whatever. Anything to go ahead and represent us as a group. You ain't going to do that. They're going to go ahead and fall in line and go to the other side. And I get disappointed when I hear niggas.
We have our own parties. That's the thing. We have our own parties, but a lot of people don't know. And the ones that do know, they don't support them like they should.
They don't support them. The thing other thing that fucking gets to me is when you go ahead and you try to let people know that, hey, look, we need our own shit. We need our own stuff. They will. These motherfuckers will listen to you if they go ahead and see that. Hey, look, their economics, their whole system is based on going ahead and keeping their families together and building wealth. Yep. And you can't convince people. You got people that's going to go against you just about every time and then try to criticize me. This is another reason that when you look at my Facebook page and any other social media that I'm on, you'll never see my picture because I have to go ahead and look out for me and my family. I have gotten death threats and people go ahead saying crazy stuff to me when I was on Blog Talk. And I knew from my military experience that, hey, look, you can't put your picture out there. You can't put your image out there because the one that's going to go ahead and be behind the gun is going to be a black person.
Yep. They're going to send somebody to look just like you to do you in. Yep. And that's what they did. That's what they did for the Mero shit. This media personality out here, he's our roly-poly Martin. And he's technically my uncle, which is really, really fucked up.
Technically your what?
My uncle.
Just who?
That's Sylvia's brother, guys.
Ain't that crazy when you got family members talking crazy, man?
Yeah. Well, thank God it's not by blood.
But. Well, let me show you another one, man. I got an aunt, right? My mom's sister, right? She's close to, I think she's in her 80s now. But I remember being a kid and going there, seeing her come around with all of the Black Power stuff and the Black Panther stuff, man. And she was a member of the Black Panther, even her sons. Yeah, I remember you said that. So my aunt, when she wasn't around, I would hear other individuals talking about, oh, Marie crazy, she crazy, she on that other stuff. But then, like, if she go ahead and tell her, I remember one time at a gathering, she was like, I ain't going to church. What the hell am I wasting my time over there for? I need to go ahead and worry about getting my family together and doing stuff for this and doing stuff for us as a people. But I can't go ahead and do that if I'm going ahead and praising to a white Jesus. And they was crowding around her talking crazy, man. And that liquor started talking, man. And she just said, fuck all y'all. And she went and sat by herself.
Yeah, Granny had enough. Shit. That's like my grandma. My grandma was crazy. She was a Black Panther.
Yeah.
People.
But you get that volunteer house nigga. I mean, literally. And I even told some I
see it within my own family dynamic.
Yeah. I even told that, that you're a volunteer for the Klan. I told that to some young gangbangers here, right? They're going to represent vice lords, blah, 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 GDs, but all that other stupid nonsense. I was like, don't you realize you in a group that's hell-bent on destroying you as a people? I mean, and me and my cousin.
Originally, though, it wasn't like that, though. It was
right.
Growth and development.
Right.
Empowerment of the people. Because these are bastards of the party. The gangs we are bastards of the party. So whatever Crip Blood, VD, Vice Lord, Gangster Disciple, any Cobra, any other, the black gangs were set up to protect the black community from the white lynch mobs that would come in, the Night Riders, the Ku Klux Klan, you name it.
Right.
We were set up to protect our neighborhoods. And then the crack, the Contra shit, the Reagan shit, all that went down, and we went down in the process because it was under y'all current president now, Sleepy Jim Crow, that he said every crime bill since 1972 is his bill. He is the author of the bill. So we always hit him with that 94, but it ain't just that 94, black family. This is systematic destruction of the black family structure.
But check it out. You say systematic destruction of the black family with the assistance and aid and help from black folks.
Yep. Because who taught us? Who taught us to hate yourself? That's why I shout out to Malcolm X's birthday.
Basically, each ourselves.
And we should see on his, that would be the 3rd annual Malcolm X Day we've been doing in Denver. But that should definitely be a holiday. We made it a holiday, just like we made April 5th a holiday. I don't give a fuck. We don't need your permission, Caucasoid, to do any goddamn thing.
Oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. Let me show you something, man. And I'm saying that sarcastically. So I remember having some people on my show, which I still support them to this day. They was talking about, hey, nationhood, and let's go.
About the cops.
These guys was on my show, and it was talking about nationhood, nation building, and let's go ahead and go back to Africa and get our piece of land by our birthright. What the thing that one of these brothers called in and said, they was like, if you leave America, ain't that illegal? I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
What did Malcolm X say about the 2 niggas on the plantation?
Yeah. Oh man, I love that.
Well, played better than this. Where we gonna go better than this?
Where we gonna go better than this? Yeah. Ain't nothing. Where you gonna get good food like this and all that nonsense, man? I was like, oh man, it's just really sad.
Our airplanes, they won't even let this nigga on the air.
Right.
We talk about our airplanes.
Yeah. And then what else he tell you? What's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick.
Sick.
The fuck out of here, man. If your ass sick, man, you know, it's like, it's fucking sad.
This motherfucker beats you, rapes you every day, and you sitting up here talking about, I don't want Master Charlie to die.
Fuck that, he could die twice.
Because we are definitely different. And we did have some ancestors that were unfortunately coons.
Of course, man. You need to find that clip of this one dude, man, who was back in the 60s, where he was talking about
well, right now,
Sabbath.
I need to move us to the next topic.
Okay, brother, go ahead.
So Oprah's girl, Gayle King, is getting dragged now because she said that she told the black coach, I guess for LSU or another HBCU type school, she cheered for Caitlin Clark, the one that played for Iowa. 2-time loser. They parading this white girl. They done gave her a shoe deal and all kinds of shit. And rumor had it she's really a man, but we ain't seen baby pictures or some shit. Because we did cover that on the RBA too. Like in states like California, Chef Rob, the parent could opt in to put in no gender for the child.
Like I said, okay, so it's either Africa or Colombia. Colombia accepts a lot of that crazy nonsense, but Africa don't. You know that. I can't deal with that.
I have whole laws. This shit is outlawed and banned. You will be killed or ostracized. You come with that bullshit over there. But yeah, I just had a homeboy. He moved out to Kenya. Our Sankofa brother Marais, him and his family, they've been living out in Kenya for about 4 years now. Yeah, they left right before the pandemic. And I say that because it was a scheme and it was a plan. And initially, our people were not catching that shit.
We were catching for like a whole year. We did not get sick for like a whole year. They were getting sick.
But I remember whole crackers being at the state house talking about giving mugs the right to survive on the streets from the elements. And this broad in here like, oh my God, COVID is just, it's gonna attack the homeless people and they're all gonna catch it and they're all gonna die. And it was ridiculous, y'all. It really was. But so Gayle King is crying boo-hoo. You know, she's trying to have to walk her shit back on CBS Morning for what she said about this black coach in regards to Caitlin Clark. So shout out I think this is Vicky, Sister Vicky. Shout out to Sister Vicky. She's like the only one outside of Jeff Fart, who I was talking about earlier, who is a big platform out here, a media personality. But she got more followers, and he allowed RFK to disrespect her on his program.
He disrespected her.
Well, he did too, but that's Jeff. He's a coon. He took the money. He used to be a down brother, but them days are long over. He made his alliances known. And it's not black first at all, but you got a license plate that says stay black, but you're a Moor. You mentioned gangs started to protect people to enlist once and left out the cops. Oh, the cops are in cahoots with the criminals, megabytes. You must be new here. So we in the algorithm. This might be another Asian clipper.
Knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
No ships and no planes to fly that shit in here. Who you think was funding that operation? But they just want to put it on Free Red Wiki. The real Rick Ross.
Conversation.
Peace, family. My name is Vicky Diller for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please let everybody know that your sister with the curly braids is on now. Thank you so very much. By the way, family, did you know that African Diaspora News Channel, we have our own app? Yes, yes, yes. We have taken and elevated our voice. We've taken it to a whole nother level. So we want you to be sure to tap into that. Be sure to download it and tell everybody that you know about it. By doing that, you strengthen our collective Black boys. Thank you so very much. Now, family, I want you to watch this brief clip. How many of you all have heard about the beautiful Black legendary and iconic coach, Miss Dawn Staley? She has broken all kinds of records as a Black coach, coaching her team over the years. And of course, she was an iconic and legendary athlete herself, an award-winning legendary athlete, her basketball player herself. Well, recently, Miss Gayle King interviewed her and said something that was completely shocking to the public. Watch this.
Happy for you guys, Coach Staley. I'm so happy. The game was such a good game. It was so close at times. And in the end, you guys pulled it out. But was there ever a point during the game when you were worried? Because I got worried. We were all cheering for Iowa, of course, and Caitlin Clark. But for so many people, you've got their hearts. Was there ever a point where you were worried during the game?
I wasn't ever worried during the game. I know, when we went down 10-0.
Okay, family, did you see that? Did you hear where Gayle King, a Black face in a so-called high place for a major white network, says to this winning legendary Black athlete and coach, after she just won a historic title for her team, just won a historic title, she tells this coach we were all rooting for Iowa and Caitlin Clark. Of course. Now, Gayle committed 3 major offenses. First of all, the idea that she would sit up there and tell this woman in the world that we, which would indicate a lot of Black folks, we were rooting for Iowa and Caitlin. That's one. Okay. And then the fact that she would say we were all, that's number 2, the second infraction. The third infraction is when she said she did all this, of course. Of course would indicate as if this was the right thing to do, the expected thing to do.
He just
to sit up here and say, of course, we're supporting Caitlin. No, we're not. Caitlin's team is a losing team. They didn't do what the Black teams have done. They don't have championships like Angel Reese and some of the other Black basketball players, female basketball players. You've got to ask yourself, if Gayle is out there saying that we were all, who is all Gayle? Who is Gayle hanging out with? Well, you know, she's hanging out with folks like David Geffen. And prior to that, Epstein and them. Talk black to me, somebody. Those are her buddies. This is what I'm talking about when Black looking women and Black looking men are in these in legacy media and mainstream institutions and systems, because they're there to do the bidding of those particular institutions and work against us.
The enemy.
She said this. She could have kept that to herself, but she said it right after this Black woman did what none other prior to her has done in this way.
Right.
As a Black coach with a Black team. Female team.
Black woman couldn't acknowledge that.
I told you all a long time ago, when Gayle did those back-to-back interviews, when her network, CBS, did back-to-back series on R. Kelly, I told you I was definitely not defending R. Kelly in anything he did that was criminal and illegal and against these young, beautiful women. But I was trying to show you that she was doing that for the benefit, dogging him, making him look like the monster and the face of sexual impropriety. She did that in order to help make him the face of such debauchery, instead of some of the other higher ups and so forth. That doesn't excuse what he was doing. But to further prove my point, Gayle admitted in part the reason why that during the following after those interviews, the ratings were so high, she brought in so many ratings for dogging R. Kelly, that's what helped to substantiate her subsequent $11 million contract she signed with the network after that. Then, how many of y'all remember when Kobe Bryant, legendary Black athlete, passed before our brother was even buried? Good. She tried to drag up a sexual assault case that received no conviction, that was credibly shown to be inaccurate. Upon learning of his passing, she brings in one of Kobe's best friends, legendary basketball player Lisa Leslie, and brought up this fake case from months prior with this white accuser of Kobe Bryant that, again, did not end in any kind of conviction or any full trial, to dirty up his reputation.
Origins.
And with such elegance and class, Lisa Leslie shut her down and told her that the media should show more respect during that time, and that if they actually had any real questions about his guilt, they had years to ask him. That proves to you her dirty motives. And she's okay with using Black men to do the dirty work for ratings and to bring in resources for her network, among other pernicious reasons. And then when she did these back-to-back series on R. Kelly, Gayle King defended her former white co-host on CBS Mornings. How many of y'all remember hearing about Charlie Rose? Charlie Rose was considered to be a legendary and iconic journalist. Guess what? At least 35 women came forward with credible sexual misconduct allegations against him. He subsequently ended up stepping down from the network, and Gayle came out in a Vanity Fair interview stating how he's going to always be her friend and how we should show basically redemption. She put her life and her reputation on the line for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
But she tried to dirty up the reputation of Black men. This is the problem with folks like her and Oprah Winfrey. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. And this is the reason why I called it out. But thankfully, many more people are starting to see exactly what I've been saying about her for years. My name is Vicky Diller, beloved. Be sure to go to my website and at vickyplanet.com, and also check out my own channel at vickydiller.tv. I can't wait to see you again.
Hey, brother, let me step in real fast. That sister's powerful. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's our sister. That's our big one sister right there. She the only
that sister's powerful
right here in Aurora.
Yeah. When I first heard her, right, the story she was talking about was in Nigeria, right? This sister in Nigeria took to social media about tomato sauce on how it tasted. The company that's in Nigeria that makes the tomato sauce got with the government and had that sister arrested, talking about throwing her in jail for 10 years. And this sister here that just spoke, she was the one who was bringing it out. And I was like, man, what the hell? You criticizing tomato sauce and you get time in prison? Oh, man, that shit was crazy as hell. But all the stuff she was just saying, man, Oprah Winfrey, a gatekeeper. And it's been said a whole bunch of times by other individuals before Cat Williams' fucking video that Oprah ain't shit.
Right. We've been saying Oprah ain't shit for like 15 years.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? You know, a lot of people been saying that for a long time. Oprah ain't shit. And I always come back to, because I had conversations with individuals and then different going on different shows and made my comments about the, like, when people go here and say, hey, like, I made it on my own. Okay, so when you go here and say that you made it on your own, that's not true. You didn't put in the roles. You didn't go ahead. I was dealing with people in the music industry. You didn't put in the roles to drive your ass back and forth to the studios. You didn't go ahead and create the instruments. But they started bringing up Oprah and what she done. I said, well, Oprah fucker, she needs to pay back. A lot of black people supported her ass. Yeah, you don't see her go ahead and come in and do anything. She opened that school.
She do it in Africa.
Yeah, she opened that school in Africa only to find out the girls was being molested.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, man. And she got on TV crying and all that other shit. I was like, bitch, you knew what was going on. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
She ain't innocent. She ain't innocent.
But she's a billionaire, so we're supposed to live vicariously through her.
Oh, wait. Let me tell you another something real fast. Fuck her being a billionaire. When Oprah went over to I can't remember what country it is. Man, I think it was Sweden. And then she was like a resort.
That Birkin bag.
Yeah, that bag. Remember that?
It was a Birkin bag, yeah.
Yeah, they was like, well, we were giving shit. You can't afford this. That treat her ass like shit. And she got what she fucking deserved. You know, you only a billionaire in America. You ain't a billionaire outside of fucking America. Nobody know your ass. Fuck.
Not even Switzerland, where the Geneva Convention takes place.
Right. Yeah, that's where I was going with that, man. All them, man, they don't fucking
and
know.
sperm goes down.
Mm-hmm.
I have news to share, y'all. Great news, as Shabaka would say. Great news. Our brother, who I was just talking about earlier, who moved to Kenya about 3-4 years ago, he just wrote his first book. And it's called The Destruction of Destruction, The Whiteness of Destruction, The Origin and Consequences of White Aggression. This is like a major fuck you to Darwin. I can't wait to read it.
I can't wait to read it either.
It's supposed to be paperback and ebook this month. The Whiteness of Destruction, The Consequences of White Aggression. But they was in them caves for all that time. Chef Rob. They came out them caves with a vengeance. We had
You know, it's like with these white folks, it's one of those things where the individuals will help you survive and help you go ahead and make it. You got to come back and destroy your teacher. And black folks don't see that.
Well,
you don't see that.
People don't see it.
Yeah, you go ahead and see it. And still helping these fucking people to this day, and still go ahead and try to protect these people to this day. And like okay, because I don't know how it is in Denver. Okay, I just went. I stayed at a hotel and I went there and did a couple other things.
Huh? Chef Rob?
That was a while back, man. Shit, was it like the Hampton Inn we stayed in? But and then we went to somebody's house, somebody's apartment. I don't remember the area well. Okay, because that's my first time, my only time coming in. Because I remember, one of the things when my man was, hey, let's get to the weed spots. Let's get to the weed spots. And I found
after it got legalized.
Yeah. It's like so. But anyway, like here in Chicago, it's one of those things where like these neighborhoods are segregated.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the most segregated city in America.
And it's like and these fools don't
created and founded by a black man.
Right, yeah, exactly. And he don't get no praise at all. They got a statue of him out by the bridge, but they don't really say too much about him.
We got a street.
Yeah. So it's shit. What street?
Sable Boulevard.
That ain't that ain't no real street, man. That's like around the park downtown.
No, that's like out by
the DuSable.
Yeah, Sable.
Yeah, it's like that ain't no real street, man. Shit, that ain't shit, man. But my thing is this.
Missed the whole street. It's a street on the map. You can see it on Google. It's a real street.
Okay, so how many houses on that street?
It's be like a dirt road. Shit.
How many houses on that street right now?
On Sable, there's a bunch of trailer parks now and some townhomes.
Man, that's for years that was no fucking street. So yeah, that's fucking
right.
bullshit.
It was a dirt road.
That's some fucking bullshit. I mean, this guy did a lot for the. And even here, I mean, you missed my point. Even here, they give praise to some fucking Polish general who was in the American Revolution, but they don't get that brother no praise.
The last time I crossed that motherfucker Sable, I almost got killed. Me and like 2 other people.
Yeah, you got to be careful in this motherfucker.
They got the right away, Chef Rob, and this motherfucker just kept on going.
Dude, I just found out that where I live, this building I live in, man. Shit, I walked outside one day, man, last week. I was like, damn, there's bullet holes in the front of the fucking building. I was like, oh shit. I didn't hear him going off, and I don't remember going ahead and. Just the bullet holes just fuck with me. That's why I was like, man, let me start working on getting the fuck away from here because this is crazy.
Right.
I ain't got no business being in this motherfucker, man.
Where you on the west side?
West side, homie. Yeah. Grew up over here when my grandfather first came up here. He brought his son, and then my mom them came up here. Came from, they call this Mississippi North. They came up here from Mississippi.
Yeah, it's definitely Mississippi North and South Carolina.
Yeah. So they came up here and was living. My mom them let them tell it, man. They was living hard as hell, rough.
Sharecroppers.
Yeah, they was living rough. And my mom's grandfather and his brother. And actually, they ran for Mississippi.
I believe it.
The motherfuckers was trying to lynch him down. He got into it with this white dude, man, and the white dude wind up going ahead losing his life. Needless to say, they beat him, poor Pope, and they had to leave. And I just found out that story a couple of years ago. I was wondering why. Hey, look, they left where they was living it because one of my mom's sisters had bought land down there, and the land looked good, but my family ain't doing nothing with it. So everybody is affected by this. This stupor. We ain't gonna do shit.
They need to shut down the whole goddamn Democratic National Convention.
I don't like I said, man. We just can't blame. I get that. But you can't just go ahead and blame it on them. It's been for us. It's been both parties. It's been both parties. They're both equally going ahead and helping destroy black folks. We need to put that out there.
Oh, we've been putting it out there, but we need to put it out there more. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, because you got to put it out there because both of them have been instrumental in hurting us. And if you go ahead and say, hey, look, it's the Democratic Party, but you're giving a pass to what the Republicans are doing lately, man, you're not being genuine, brother. You got to go ahead and tell both sides has been fucked up.
For over 10 years. I ain't been a damn Democrat since 07, second term. I worked on that Tether's campaign.
Man, and I criticized Obama. My biggest thing was the okay, now you guys had Pianki on your show.
Yeah.
I got into a discussion with him about I was like, well, Obama did too much for black folks. He did lots for gays and others. And he was like, well, and let me tell you what he said. I wish I could find that exact time when he said it, because a lot of those shows I recorded. I told him that, hey, look, Obama really ain't did shit for black folks. He was like, well, black people didn't come to him with an agenda. I said, man, that don't make no motherfucking sense when that bastard lived here. Lived here, wrote a book about his experiences here. So don't tell me, you don't need to bring him shit. You already know what's going on. It's like, if I look at it from like a chef's point of view, if you fucking baking a cake and you go ahead and put it together and it's fucked up, you're like, okay, well, then next time I make a cake, I know what the fuck is happening. I know what to do to make the cake better. This dude trying to tell us that nobody came to him with an agenda. You didn't need to. You saw what the fuck was happening here. So you go to hell with that shit.
Right. I feel you, Chef Rob. You get no argument from me or Lady Che. She done passed out on us, but the show must go on.
I did not.
Okay. Well, what are your thoughts on this shit here with Gayle King?
It's another one that I don't think should be allowed to talk. She that Caitlyn girl.
She not like us. She not like us.
Caitlyn girl is just is like a piece of Wonder Wheat, and
if she's a girl at all.
Yeah, she's ugly. First of all, and they gave her they disrespected the sisters by not giving them any kind of deals when they play and they had a winning team. They've been having a winning team. The coach and the young black girls. When they put that white girl over them and really highlighted that right there was a show.
They gave her a whole show deal,
and I didn't really think that was a good thing. I was like, if they even tried to give those sisters any kind of shoe deal, it would have been by default. And that I would have thrown everything back in their face. That by now anything that they gain is like it's almost like they have to get something. I don't think that their treatment has been anywhere near fair. I think that Gayle King is a sham too, just like Oprah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
not paying $1,000 for those
everything that Gayle King touches on doesn't last very long. So I would stop investing my time and money into her because she's been on several shows that don't last very long.
Yeah.
You know what? When I looked at that clip and they showed that white girl, man, like, this is clearly a boy.
Right.
This is clearly a boy. I mean, like, what are you talking about? You ain't supposed to be going ahead and doing that, bringing them. I mean,
they might get us for that. I don't know.
It's clearly
right behind stupid.
Clearly a boy. I mean, if you look at how the jerseys fit and stuff, man, it's like this. Ain't got no titties at all.
I want to see the baby pictures. Where are the baby pictures?
No, that's clearly like an ugly ass girl. If it is a girl, but it's an ugly ass girl. Flat chested, fucking borderline.
Mixed 6 o'clock.
Hold on. When you say flat chest, you're implying that she got titties. Ain't no titties.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ugly. It's just an ugly person. It's very unattractive person for real. Like I looked at it as this very unattractive.
It's a dude. Come on, man. Come on now. It's a dude. It's a guy.
Unattractive dude with long hair too. I don't know what they've seen in this person. Just be like, what is it? Yeah, I don't agree with it. And I think Gayle keeps touches this doesn't last very long.
Nope.
So they need to
Remember
stop
her
investing their
cool ass
money in her.
Barkley show.
And every show she's on, it doesn't last more than like a few years.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to stop investing their money in her.
The latest didn't even get that far.
Yeah. There you go.
It only lasted 6 months, Chef Rob.
I know. I saw the headlines. I saw the headline. It probably could be an interesting show, but Barkley's kind of a coon himself. Okay, so
kinda. That's putting it mildly.
I was being nice.
From the Ghetto Boys did a whole song about it called "Coon," where he mentioned him and several other coons.
Oh man.
Okay, so the next topic is a group of snow buddies attempt to drown their token black friend.
Mm. Well, he should know better.
I think he's non-FBA. He has to be. So Chris Crazy House, otherwise known as Mad Blacc TV or Mad Blacc, is gonna give us the update on this crazy shit.
Most toxic black man in television.
That's right.
What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Blacc, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. The brother who told you not to be the token black guy in a group of white friends, but you did it anyway, and then they wound up pushing your ass in the lake, causing you to drown. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So, if you have not heard, there is a very interesting story about a young black man named Christopher Gilbert, who was getting ready to be a medical student, who was hanging out with his white friends, and I put friends in quotes, and they were at like this pier or dock or whatever, just hanging out, having something to eat, and all of a sudden, one of these white friends named Cassidy Holland pushed Christopher Gilbert into the lake. This man was basically going up and went under the water for almost about 20 minutes when, his quote-unquote friends just kind of stood around and watched it. Someone else, one of the other patrons at a different restaurant, had to actually save him. And apparently his white friends, quote-unquote, knew that Chris Gilbert could not swim, but, they pushed him in there anyway, and he was eventually rescued by someone completely different, a completely different group of people. And they tried CPR on him. They got him to the hospital. He was pronounced brain dead for a while and was in a coma. And, his heart had stopped and a lot of his organs started shutting down. But miraculously, Christopher Gilbert has lived. And, it's been about a week or so, and he has come out of the coma. And I'm surprised he's actually even being able to communicate, right?
Yeah.
And, his mother, his black mother, was very upset about this story because she got the call on the phone from somebody basically saying that Christopher Gilbert had drowned and he was brain dead and everything. And she went to the hospital and she just said she felt like her whole world was ending while her son was laying in the hospital bed and his organs were shutting down like that, right? I can't imagine what that type of news is to hear as a parent, that your child is dying like that, right? But through the grace of God and just through her own strength, he was able to pull through and wake up. And I would assume he's suffering from some very severe brain damage. You can't be underwater for that long, or your brain starts shutting down for that long with no brain activity without having some sort of brain damage. So I don't know how severe it is, but apparently he's awake now and somehow is communicating with people about the whole situation. Because his mother, she wanted those quote unquote white friends to be arrested.
Right.
She wanted the law to be sicked on these people.
Yeah.
Right. And she had been even asking for help from the community for, to get the story some attention, to get these people locked up and get them charged with attempted murder. Right. But Christopher Gilbert has decided to get his own lawyer, and he doesn't want to press charges against his white friends.
Stupid.
Yeah. He said that he doesn't think anyone did anything intentionally wrong.
Oh my
and he has a new lawyer of his own that says that they don't intend to file charges against Holland. So Cassie Holland basically almost kills this Negro, and he's not going to press charges against her or any of his other white friends who basically just sat there and watched him drown and go underwater for 20 minutes. And I would like to sit here and pretend that I'm surprised by this. I would love to sit here and pretend that this is unusual or weird or whatever. But the mind of the Negro is something to behold, where there is actually no self-preservation when it comes to dealing with white people. And I mean none. This fool basically almost died and has basically decided to let his killers go. Or the people who tried to kill him, he decided to let them go. Now, some people are out there saying, well, you know, he was underwater for a long time. He might have brain damage. So maybe that's why he's buck dancing it up like this, right? Maybe this is why he wants to forgive these people. I don't believe that's true. In my opinion, if he did have brain damage, it happened before he was pushed into the water. And that brain damage is called the slave mind in comparison to white supremacy. The fact that he was the token in this group of quote unquote friends.
Oh my God.
And they thought it would be funny for them, a female at that, thought it would be funny to just push him into the water when they knew that he couldn't swim. And then none of them did anything to go rescue him. Is all telling to me about their relationship. I could almost bet this Negro was the butt of damn near all the jokes if he was in this little group. I can almost bet this is not the first time that they've pranked him or done something to him that almost cost him his life. I can almost bet that he's probably tried to date one of the women or something like that, but they've always rejected him. And he just kind of laughed it off and stayed in the group. I can almost bet that. Because you don't go from just meeting a group of friends and they think it's okay to push you into a lake and watch you drown, right? And you know, when you have a black person like this who has no common sense and no self-preservation, stuff like this is bound to happen, right? And you know, I've seen this before because I went to school with white guys, and I know that they love to think that, you know, it's okay to do things that are life-threatening. They think that's funny, right? To do things that can seriously injure somebody or cause bodily harm to somebody to the point where they might die. And you know, you've seen shows like Jackass or whatever, you've seen stuff like this, right? Where they almost kill themselves in doing these weird stunts. You know, with the advent of social media, you got about a gazillion idiots out there doing ridiculous things, and basically some of them wind up losing their lives based on, you know, the stuff that they're doing. Like I said, they do this crazy stuff to each other or to themselves. So it's not beyond the pale to think that they would do something like this to a black person, you know, because they don't value black people's lives anyway. So if they are cool with doing this type of stuff to each other, why wouldn't they do this to a black person? There's a very famous story that was just resolved maybe last year, where this white girl, one of her friends, pushed her off of a bridge into this lake, and they were so high up that she hit the water so hard that it messed up her internal organs. Like, that's how bad the fall was.
Yeah.
Because people don't realize just how dense water is.
Right.
And if you hit water from a certain height, you're going to do just as much damage as if you just like fell and hit some concrete. Right. And she hit the water real hard. And they said when they pulled her out of the water, she was all red. She was all bruised already. Right. And blood was pooling up all under her skin and whatnot. So once again, if they'll do that to each other, then yeah, of course they'll do something to a black guy and have him damn near drown, right?
Yeah.
And still call themselves his friend. And this fool doesn't want to press any charges. So at this point, I mean, if he doesn't have the sense that God gave him to save his own life or to punish people that do him wrong, then we don't need to do any more. We don't need to do any more rabble rousing. There don't need to be any more protests, because there are people out there protesting and trying to get attention for his case. He basically spit in the face of his mother, right, who wanted justice for him, for his life.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have the same concern for his own life, obviously. So we don't need to keep on going about this story. I might do an update on it depending on what happens. But for the most part, who gives a damn?
Right.
If he doesn't care, then I don't care.
I don't give a
right? If he doesn't think that it's a good thing to try to save his own life, and he wants to probably still keep on hanging out with these white folks, right? He's probably going to try to go hang out with them as soon as possible. But he won't get the point that they almost killed his dumbass. But you know, we'll see how things go as time goes on. You folks, let me know how you feel about this story in the comments section. I very much like to hear your opinions on it. Anyway, Mad Blacc, and I will be back with my foot on a devil's back.
That's right. Shout out to Mad Blacc. All right, Chef, what's your thoughts on this?
Hang there, white boys. Let me bring up something real fast.
Yeah.
Do you know one of the reasons in America a lot of black folks can't swim?
Because we weren't allowed to swim in the pools.
No, it ain't just that. That's later. Early on, they started taking the pools out of black areas.
Oh, yeah.
And that they started doing that, like I can't remember what year. When I first saw the story, I slid back in my chair. I was like, damn, that's fucked up. I don't know if it was like 1920s or something like that. They started taking the pools out of black areas. And if you go ahead and look now in the hood, because I remember this one housing project I grew up in, before they demolished them, the pool they cemented over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They did that a long time ago.
That's where I stay at, as a matter of fact. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they, like I was just saying, they did that a long fucking time ago, and can't remember the reasoning that they put out there to the media why they did that when they was asked about it. But this has gone on for a long time. It was to take away ways for us to go ahead and to tone muscles, to work out, so to speak. You know, because you go ahead, you get a good workout if you swim. Okay, because me being in the military, you got to go through some classes.
Well, that's why April 5th, one of the many reasons why April 5th is a national holiday for us, because Aquaman, the young man that hopped in that, it was gator infested waters he hopped in and swam over there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, dude, yeah. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and shout out to the chairman, Reggie Ray.
Right.
It's a shame he didn't get what Daniel Penny got.
Right.
All right, so moving along, unless Lady Chase wants to chime in.
Nope.
Okay. Nothing about the token black friend?
Nope.
All right, so we're moving along to Bad Salami. Bad Salami was recently interviewed by Ann Coulter. And Ann Coulter showed her white supremacist true face. And this sniveling piece of shit who made it his mission to go after black people on the campaign trail was supping up to her, and it was atrocious. It was just about as bad as Tim Scott when he was with the dump, as in human shit, and we want to make that perfectly clear.
Climate change. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, but
Lisa's gonna give us an update on that. Gotta fast forward. Oh yeah, that's the
Shalom, family. It's good to see everybody here. You know, you heard about Ann Coulter, and many of you saw the clip because I showed it of him interviewing her. He had a podcast. He invited Ann Coulter on. And during the campaign, when him and Nimrata were still in the race, this is a comment that she made. That right there should have told him that this woman may have issues with East Indians. How do you look at something like this and you invite that person on? Now, Ann Coulter have a long history of she absolutely can't stand Nikki, Nimrata, Haley. And you'll see that as we go along in this thing. But she's got a long-standing history of hating on Nikki. And actually told Nikki she need to get out of this country. Yes, that's what Ann said. And don't think because she dated an East Indian, that don't mean nothing. The slave master laid around with the slaves. It didn't mean that he didn't have any biases or hatred towards those slaves. These people will hate on you all day and still lay down with you. That doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And especially in a place like America. America got a long history of doing that. You got these Klansmen, and look at how many of the Proud Boys had black wives. I mean, we saw that. It means nothing. Them detesting a person and what they will do are two different things.
Right.
We have seen this so many times, it's not even funny. It just tells you psychologically, these folks are really messed up. Yeah. That's what it does tell you. Thank you, Donna, for the super chat. Thank you. All right. So that doesn't mean anything because Ann dated Jimmy Walker and Dinesh D'Souza. That doesn't mean anything, y'all. It didn't see, you see what she sounds like, right? But she likes the dark meat, but you still hear what she sounds like. History always have a tendency of repeating itself.
Yeah.
Which means you see what the slave master did in the present generation. You can hate on somebody and still want to go to bed with them. It's just the way it is. All right. This is the mindset of these folks.
Yeah.
So this is what she said when Nikki and Vivek were going back and forth on the stage during a debate. She chimed in on X and said, Nikki and Vivek are involved in some Hindu business, it seems, not our fight. So yeah, she sees these East Indians as beneath her. She does. Look at this headline. Now, I know she hated on Nikki, and I've heard Ann hate on her over the years. Ann Coulter tells Nikki Haley to go back to your own country in racist rant against new GOP presidential candidate. This is the stuff that came out from Ann Coulter during the campaign, which was what, less than a year ago? A year ago? All right. So you can't tell me Vivek did not see all of this prior to inviting Ann Coulter on to his podcast. And I'll prove to you that he did know these things about Ann. So, that's some serious self-hate that he has. In my opinion, he's a weak man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get more into my thoughts when we get through these slides that I want you to see. So she got a long history of hating on these East Indians. She really does. So, that's why every time I hear, oh, she dated an East Indian, it's really irrelevant. For real.
Right.
All right. It's really irrelevant. So look at this. Now, she said they're arguing, bickering back and forth was Hindu business. That's what she labeled it as. Now, this proves that he knew that she made the accusation. Vivek Ramaswamy's team respond to Ann Coulter's calling his clash with Nikki Haley Hindu business. So again, he knew what she was like.
Yeah.
Before having the interview. This happened in 2023. I mean, it really wasn't that long ago when this stuff was out in the media because they were both running.
Mm-hmm.
So no, he can't say, well, I didn't know she was like that. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. All right. She ain't trying to hide who she is. Missions Vision, thank you for becoming a new channel member. All right. So no, he was fully aware. So listen to what Ann Coulter says. So she goes on to say, she's talking about the East Indians. What's with the worshiping of cows? They're all starving over there, she said in an appearance on the Symone show podcast. And she goes on to say, did you know they have a rat temple where they worship rats? And then she goes on to call Nikki Haley a bimbo. Preposterous creature. That's what she called Nikki Haley.
Damn, Nimrata.
I mean, does it sound like she likes these East Indians?
No.
No, she don't like them at all. She don't like them at all. And he should have known better. And this is also something that came out in 2023. 2023. This is what she said on the Symone show about East Indians. So she ain't trying to hide who she is.
Mm-mm.
She has never tried to hide who she is. Never. So after all of those insults and her telling him to his face, I didn't vote for you because you're Indian, he went out on Twitter the very next day with the sorriest response known to mankind. The sorriest response.
What was it?
So he goes on to say, Ann Coulter told me flat out to my face that she couldn't vote for me because you're an Indian, even though she agreed with me more than most other candidates. He goes on and says, I disagree with her, but respect. She had the guts to speak her mind. It was a riveting hour. The Truth podcast is back.
Did you see the interview?
Now, remember, I showed you that clip with Don Lemon. With Don Lemon, he was a proud Indian American.
Yeah.
But he couldn't say those words to Ann Coulter.
Nope.
So let me tell my people something that I see in this whole thing. Ann Coulter, in all of her racist embodiment, just gave us all the ammunition we need in dealing with Vivek.
Yeah.
The next time Vivek rears his head to trash Black people, we can drag him on the fact that he refused to defend himself against Ann Coulter when she insulted his ethnicity to his face.
Yeah.
He never had a leg to stand on, y'all.
Right.
But he can no longer get in our face to fight the Black community. And he has failed to defend himself against the white community when they insulted him. He can't come back at us anymore, y'all. We really got him. We got him. When he didn't defend himself, he put that right in our laps. So he cannot rise up to criticize us without getting slammed over the fact that he let this woman be racist right to his face, and he didn't deal with her at all.
At all.
That's how I see it. It's a gift that even Ann Coulter did not see. She was really giving us a gift in that moment, and he didn't see it either.
Right.
So there you go. There is nothing he can say from this point out where Ann Coulter will not be put in his face. And in his statement, he flat out refuses to stand up to her. You know, I thought the men in his society, they look down on women. Look how they treat women over in the country he comes from. Them women get treated like garbage over there. Maybe some of the ones that got some status or come from a more upper class family, they're treated a little better. But those women that live in them poor villages, they get treated like dirt over there in India. Not to mention, I ain't taking no crap, y'all, off of no man that comes from a country where babies are born with 10 heads and 90 arms, okay? Nah, you can't come to me and say crap. You got to have some kind of mutations in your DNA to be producing these babies with 9 arms and 10 legs. Nah, see, you can't come from that and then get up in the faces of my people and claim to be better. Oh, hell no. Hell no. No. Chai Citizen, thank you so much for the super chat. She could make the argument that his immigrant background could be a threat to national security, like the Somali woman in Minnesota. Yes. And you want to hear something crazy? I'm so glad you brought this up. Donald Trump was talking about putting Vivek in charge of national security. Y'all pull up the articles. Articles are out there.
Oh,
if he wins the presidency, he was going to put Vivek possibly in charge of Homeland Security.
Oh,
Vivek in charge of Homeland Security. Man, what a huge mistake that would be.
Right.
Yes, Donald Trump said this. You know, why do you think after he lost, he was still on the stage with Donald Trump? He threw his support behind Donald Trump. And Donald Trump ain't making Vivek no VP. You can forget about that. Kamala, it's not going to be any more East Indian VPs after Kamala. it ain't going to be no more after her. So the point I'm trying to make, y'all, this man is non-threatening as far as I'm concerned, and he made himself irrelevant when he allowed someone to come in his space and insult him like that, and he just sat there looking somber. And that was all he could do, is just sit there in disbelief that she said that on his podcast. See, if he was about something, because Ann was not physically in the same room with her, she was just on the podcast through the live stream. If he was really about something, y'all, he would have cut her ass off at that point.
Yeah.
He would have cut her off. You don't let nobody come on your panel and be racist to you.
Yeah.
And he allowed it. He allowed it. Leon Johnson, thank you. Ann would eat a steak in front of Vivek and Nikki just to make them both mad. Yeah, you're right. Leon Johnson, their women are scared to death of those weak ass men, but are quick to jump in black men's faces. I've experienced this on the job. Yeah, but what they won't do, I have seen them get mistreated on jobs. I've worked with them and seen them get mistreated on jobs. And if the mistreatment comes from a white person, they will do absolutely nothing. I've seen it too. They won't do nothing, but they got everything to say to a black man or woman. See, this is where you shut them down. That's where you shut them down. Mike C., the situation puts all the buffer class groups on notice, not to mention they defecate in the streets where Bad Salami is from. Yeah. Yeah. And the men are the kind that if the women over there turn them down, they will throw battery acid in their face because they got turned down by the women. I've seen the stories on that as well. They will drop acid on women in a minute over there. And a lot of times they'll do it because they got rejected. And they'll also beat women up that reject them over there. You know, don't you let these people from these third-rate countries come over here and tell us nothing.
Right.
They don't have a leg to stand on.
Not one.
But I'm glad this all happened because it really demonstrated how weak this man really truly is. He is a bona fide coward, and that's all he is. Anytime you've seen all that stuff that Ann said about East Indians during the time they were out on the campaign trail, and you're going to invite that kind of person on your podcast, you are stupid altogether. So I don't feel bad for him. The only one I saw put out a piece saying, oh, Ann is a racist. Well, Ann is who she is. And Ann, she had taken some jabs at the black community too. But all of these same people have never rose up to say anything. But when it's Vivek, we're supposed to, oh, that was horrible what she did. I'm not saying nothing because this man has attacked the black community and it was all unfounded. He had no good, legitimate reason for being on the campaign trail. The whole time he was on the campaign trail, he kept insulting and being completely racist towards the black community. So whatever happens to him from here on out, oh well.
Thank you for joining us, Chef.
Was it racist? Yeah, but in his case, I don't care. I don't care that Ann Coulter was racist to Vivek. I don't care.
Call tonight East Indians are racist.
I don't care, y'all. And I'm being blunt and straight up. I do not care that Ann did that to him.
Twice.
Lonzo Thompson, thank you for becoming a channel member. Thank you. Serves him right. Yeah, it does. That's why I'm not defending him. I'm not going to ever defend him. You know, when I saw him out on that campaign trail always being a racist, this man he's never getting any defending from me. Lonzo Thompson, thank you so much for the super sticker. But you know what? Another reason why I know Kamala is East Indian. Kamala is dressed, you know, there are pictures of Kamala dressed as an East Indian. I don't know if any of you have seen those pictures.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I was like, y'all need to stop trying to call this woman black. Kamala is not black. Kamala is an East Indian. She is. And I have seen photos of Kamala dressed, fully dressed as an East Indian, just like I've seen Nikki Haley dressed as one. You know, and that's why I'm going to push back on that Kamala is black stuff. Kamala is not black.
Right.
He's like Nimrata.
Yeah, Nimrata.
She is not black.
Kamala is not black.
And I have seen pictures of her dressed that way.
Oh, Sambo.
That's why I'm like, okay, it cut the crap already. Hold on, let me see if I can show you this picture. I'll put it up on the screen. All right, here it is. All right. All right, let me share my screen so I can show you this.
Want to become a certified project manager but aren't sure about the skills you need? The PMP certification.
All right, so this is Kamala in a family photo. She's right here. She got shorter hair at the time. You even see the dot on her head. You see how she's dressed. This is her family, y'all. This is her family. But they're in our faces saying Kamala is East Indian. She's right here. She's right here. And this is her family. These are her family members right there in the picture. But they keep telling us Kamala is black. Kamala is black. Kamala is East Indian.
Right.
How many black women you see dressed as East Indians? You don't see none.
None.
You see none. And you see what the rest of the family look like. They all are dressed as East Indians, all of them.
Yeah.
So no, stop playing with us and telling us Kamala is a black woman. Please stop it. Stop it already.
So cold.
Okay, please stop it already. Yeah, I think her sister is married to a black man, but that still doesn't diminish the fact that Kamala is an East Indian. And they keep parading her around as a black woman. So y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. I just wanted to show you these things and show you his weak response to Anne so that you know that this man is full of crap and a big coward.
He didn't mind what she did.
So y'all, thank you for being here and be on the lookout for my videos that I'll be putting out.
Stupid.
All right, let me just make sure before I go, I thank everybody that made donations
Mammy Sanders
through super chat memberships and super stickers. Thank you very much. And be on the lookout for my videos that will be coming out for tomorrow. And everybody, please enjoy the rest of your day.
I'm gonna stay here with it.
Shalom, family.
I messed it up last time.
Okay, Lady Chair's gonna hold it down.
Go ahead and press the next one. Go ahead and press the next one.
Well, I gotta get my commentary on what this is.
Go ahead.
All right, so We were never fans of bad salami anyway, and this is just a prime example of why.
Nope.
He had all this vitriol for foundational Black Americans, but when the open enemy was directly in his face on his show and told him directly to his face that she would not vote for him because he was East Indian, and he didn't take that as an offense or as a sign of disrespect, then you should not be living. You're not a man. You're a clown. For real. And you think you want acceptance from that? So yeah, I have no love for Bad Salami. I'm glad he dropped out. He should have never ran in the first place. And you're smoking all kinds of base rocks if you think that you were going to be his dump as a human shit. And we want to make it perfectly clear. Vice presidential pick.
The way she said it too was just horrible. I mean, like she said it like she's like kind of sleepy and like she's like kind of like she said like I mean it called it look like fucking like she was high when she said it. She was like, "And you're Indian," yeah, like that. It was just horrible the way she did it. I was like, ugh. Like she sounded like she was just high on dope. I expect that from you because you're Indian. But we could talk about that later. Like just, like she's just like I don't know. But I was really curious. He didn't have no response because I've never seen one. Right after that, where he was discussing it. I mean, how could you be okay with any of that? First of all, everybody kept dogging us about this white supremacy shit that we be talking about all the time. They just said it doesn't exist and it's in the past. And I was like, well, evidently not. It's been making as clear and present dangerous fucking statements lately as the weeks go by. So, yeah, it's a real thing. Very, wait for Jesse to come right back. Send my little errand to the it's getting dark. Well, it's dark and brother went to sleep up front in the room. Yeah, it's been making his dangerous, smoking his little dangerous white supremacy head out. And the whites have been getting it very emboldened lately. I kind of want to say I don't know what triggered it. I don't know what triggered it lately, but they've been like super he got pull up right on. Yeah, okay. Super emboldened lately. What do you think triggered it, man? The whites have just been coming out in full force.
Oh, we've been applying that pressure heavy. That's what triggered it.
Yep.
When I announced I was running for HB8, that was a wrap. And I was going to be on the ballot, it was definitely a wrap. So, yeah, they're scared. They're shook. They're shaking in their boots.
Is there anything left in my little bag right there? Pretty.
What?
My little bag right there, Brady?
What about it?
Is it empty?
No, it's just on there.
Okay.
So I'm going to move us along to Big Back to the play for the Denver Broncos. Mammy Sanders. If you recall, she was the one that attacked a protester who attempted to attack Biden while he was giving a speech on stage. She stepped in to protect the soon-to-be president. So she's giving her take on public lands, meaning a dump as a human shit, and we want to make that perfectly clear. She's upset that Trump is having legal victories.
Trump and several of his co-defendants in the case have moved to have Willis' office disqualified from the case, citing the district attorney's relationship with Wade. Wednesday's decision is help educate me on this. because I'm not really sure, once again, how that works to just do a handful of them, but not all.
We could have at least a first RICO trial down.
Uber Eats. So basically, they're trying to disqualify Fannie the Mammy.
Lola V product?
Fulton County, Georgia.
Products? I got to remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to.
So that they can finagle their way into the White House without having to beat Trump directly, but beat him through the court system, right? So let me pull this up first, and let's get into this one.
So, Glenn, as you look at the overall picture,
You can even hear in a, so Glenn, they're so mad. They are so upset that this stuff isn't working.
So, Glenn, as you look at the overall picture and the impact that this could have on the other overall picture, are we well past the point that we were talking about for so many months, which is that these trials are kind of going to depend on one another? There could be a kind of domino effect. When something happens one place, it impacts the other place. It almost looks like none of that is relevant, at least as we're looking toward the election.
You know, it does feel less and less likely that we're going to get any case other than obviously the New York case, which is underway. Any of those other cases to trial before the election. I agree with Ken. It's not impossible that we could have at least a first RICO trial down in Georgia before the election. I also think it's unlikely, you know, but let's also keep our eye on the fact that when these big RICO cases end up going to trial, it's not unusual. This was my experience when I was prosecuting RICO cases, for a trial to be set with just a handful of the defendants, and there are 15 charged defendants that remain pending trial in Georgia. So I wouldn't rule out the possibility of perhaps a September trial against a modest batch of defendants down in Georgia, maybe.
So they're trying to get the RICO trial started with just a handful of the defendants. They said, we can't get everybody. Let's at least get, you know, some of the folks. Let's at least take some people down.
3, 4, 5 of the defendants, of course.
And what's interesting about this is that I'm curious, and I should look into it more afterwards, and I will.
Back in the bathroom.
Understanding how RICOs work. If I'm not mistaken, and please correct me in the live chat in the comment section if you're watching the show after it's been aired live. If one person goes down, everybody goes down, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not sure if they're trying to get the RICO case started with a handful of the defendants, but not all of them. So does that mean if one of them gets found guilty, they all still get found guilty? I'm not really sure how this is working right now, and I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe you guys can help educate me on this, because I'm not really sure, once again, how that works to just do a handful of them, but not all of them. So then if out of a handful of them, 1 or 2 get found guilty, then they all get found guilty. That's my interpretation of how a RICO is supposed to work. But I could be wrong. But in either way, they're still thirsty. They're still desperate, and they are still reaching. You know, if they're talking about, let's just get the trial started with just a handful of the defendants, we don't need everybody involved. They are starving for these trials to get underway. And this is almost finished. We're going to wrap this one up in about 30 seconds.
Could include Donald Trump.
Let me rewind that back just a little bit.
Charged defendants that remain pending trial in Georgia. So I wouldn't rule out the possibility of perhaps a September trial against a modest batch of defendants down in Georgia, maybe 3, 4, 5 of the defendants. Of course, it could include Donald Trump. But Chris, as you say, there are cases being played one against another. There are so many moving pieces that I think it becomes harder and harder to see how one of these cases actually make it to trial, other than the one in New York before the election.
And the thing is that it's not looking like that's going to happen. You know, the Florida one is pretty much gone. The Florida trial is pretty much gone. I'm going to get into that shortly, why that one's pretty much done. The Atlanta one, they're still holding out hope, but most likely it's not happening pre-election. It's just not happening. And shout out to my man Cutthroat Nash for being the first person to contribute to today's stream. Almost had me dying laughing in the middle of the stream. He said, "You're late. What happened? Did your AI chip malfunction?" It did malfunction. and Putin had to hit me with a quick system update. You know, they had to do a quick system update. Putin had to, you know, recalibrate the system and, you know, give an update within me. That's why I was running a little late. So you got to blame Putin. It's not my fault. Blame Putin. You know, I'm just here to push misinformation on YouTube. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a Russian bot. You know what I mean? But don't be mad at me for being late. Be mad at Putin. Now, what I want to do next is I want to get into lawfare, right? And just give you guys a quick definition of that term. Because like I said, I was unaware of the term lawfare. I didn't know what that was. And I had never heard of that prior to till all these Trump cases that have piled up, right? That's when I was educated on this term. And I know that for some of you, that term might be new to you too. So let me give you guys this quick definition because this is exactly what's happening right now, right? We're watching this lawfare take place in order for Biden to take down Trump. Yet at the same time, the same Democrats that are participating in this are telling you that democracy is on the ballot and all this other stuff that they don't actually believe in.
Exactly.
Lawfare is the use of legal systems and institutions to damage or delegitimize an opponent or to deter an individual's usage of their legal rights. The term may refer to the use of legal systems and principles against an enemy, such as by damaging or delegitimizing them, wasting their time and money, or winning a public relations victory. And that's really what they're hoping they can do, is win a public relations victory, outside of the fact that they would like to throw Trump in jail, right? But they're looking to win that PR victory over Trump. But that isn't working. None of it is working. Remember, I believe it was sometime last week when I went over the new polling data that showed that the hush money trial is not having the desired effect on the voting population in the swing states that the Democrats hoped it would have. In that polling data, I believe they said it was 50% of the people aren't even keeping up with the hush money trial. Maybe a little over 50%, like 51% of the people aren't even keeping up with the hush money trial. And the vast majority of the people feel like it's a waste of time to begin with. A vast majority of the people feel like Trump is actually being done wrong. A vast majority of the people are recognizing this to be lawfare, even without possibly even knowing what that term is or even hearing that term, but they recognize it as just something that's unfair. This isn't really just what's happening to him. And therefore, in these swing states, we see that Trump is carrying the lead. I believe it is with the exception of Wisconsin currently, but by and large, he's carrying the lead. Some of these leads are very large. I believe in places like Nevada, where he's up around, 12 points, something like that, according to the polls. You know, it's not working. The PR battle isn't working. They're wasting his time, trying to keep him off the, trying to keep him off the trail, off the, what do you call it again? That's so irritating. The campaign trail, trying to keep him off the campaign trail. And they're wasting his money too, with all the lawyer fees and whatnot that he has to pay. So all of this stuff is in play right now. They're participating in damaging him, delegitimizing him, wasting his time, wasting his money, and winning the PR battle. But like I said, funny enough, according to the polls, none of this is working. None of this is working at all. And therein the problem lies when you have people like Symone Sanders blowing her top live on television over the fact that she understands that her job may be up for grabs if Biden loses. And I shouldn't say maybe up for grabs. It will be. It will be up for grabs. Now, what I want to do next, before we get into Symone Sanders, is that I want to get into this article right here very quickly. Donald Trump scores another major legal victory. I want to get into these victories that he attained over the past couple of days, which essentially is by way of pushing the court cases back. I want to give you guys a little bit more detail into what's happening with that and who are the players involved in this. So former President Donald Trump scored 2 back-to-back legal victories this week, effectively delaying 2 of the 4 criminal cases against him. An appeals court in Georgia agreed Wednesday to consider Trump's appeal of the disqualification matter related to the Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and attorney Nathan Wade. Judge Scott McAfee, who is overseeing the case in Fulton County, had agreed that Willis could remain on the prosecution in March, so long as Wade, who is in a romantic relationship with Willis, stepped down from the Trump case. Trump and several of his co-defendants in the case have moved to have Willis' office disqualified from the case, citing the district attorney's relationship with Wade. Wednesday's decision is highly likely to delay the potential trial in the RICO case. It follows Judge Aileen, I think I'm saying her name right. It follows Judge Aileen Cannon's Tuesday order, which indefinitely postponed Trump's trial in the classified documents case in Florida. And the Democrats are really mad at this judge. They are very upset with her. And we're going to come back to Aileen Cannon in a moment. But let's carry on with the article first. A day before the Georgia Court of Appeals granted the petition to reconsider the disqualification ruling, Cannon canceled the May trial date for Trump's classified documents case and did not set a new date. Trump is currently standing criminal trial for the hush money case in Manhattan. The latest developments mean there will likely be no other trials against Trump, the presumptive 2024 Republican presidential nominee, until much closer to election day or even after. And like I said, the Florida trial, the Florida case isn't happening. That's just not happening at all. That's not happening. The Atlanta one, there's still hopeful for, as we heard earlier. They're going to try and see if they can at least start the trial with at least 3 of the defendants, maybe 5 of them, but that's not looking good as well. Now, what I want to do is that I want to come back to Aileen Cannon, so we know who Aileen Cannon is, and we get a little bit of more of an understanding of why essentially that case got shut down completely. So who's Aileen Cannon, and that everyone's upset with? This is how they describe her, right? The fight is fixed. Legal expert calls out Judge Cannon as a MAGA activist in a black robe. Yes, we have MAGA activists in black robes helping out Trump. They're very upset with this woman right here. Very upset with her. Very upset. Donald Trump took classified documents with him after he left the White House, refused to give them back, and after 2+ years of lying about what he possessed, military secrets, including battle plans and the details of certain nuclear programs, a grand jury finally indicted him last June. The classified document cases could have been history by now, could have been over with the facts already made public, including Trump on tape talking about a document he should not have possessed with people who should not have been told about it. It is likely the once and future Republican nominee would already have been the first former president ever convicted on a crime after leaving office. So they're trying to get the point across that he could have been in jail already for this. He could have been found guilty for this already, and should have been found guilty for this already. That's what they're implying, right? But why is that? We're going to get into it right now. This case, and I quote, this case could and should have already been, this case could and should have been ready for trial in December of 2023 or January of this year, according to Joyce Vance, a former U.S. attorney. Who is Joyce Vance? Because she's really salty. This is Joyce Vance right here, because she's upset and she's salty. Joyce Vance is an American lawyer who served as United States attorney for the Northern District of Alabama from 2009 to 2017. She was one of the first 5 U.S. attorneys And wait, she was one of the first 5 U.S. attorneys and the first female U.S. attorney nominated by President Barack Obama. So she's a Barack Obama appointee. That's why she's upset, and that's why she's salty about this situation that's going on in Florida. Now let's get back to that article, right? And I'm going to repeat that paragraph again, or go back into Ms. Vance's quote again. This case could and should have already gone to trial back in December or in January of this year, according to Joyce Vance, a former U.S. attorney. But Trump was fortunate U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon won the lottery to hear the case, making an appointee of the defendant the one to decide if or when the case goes before jurors. I'm going to repeat that again. But Trump was fortunate. U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon won the lottery to hear the case, making an appointee of the defendant the one to decide if or when the case goes before jurors. Last week, Cannon formally decided that Trump's trial will be held maybe never. Maybe never. She threw out the May 20 start date and at least, she threw out the May 20th start date and at least exited the paper. Is exited or existed? I'm malfunctioning now. Okay. She threw out the May 20th start date that at least existed on paper, saying it would be imprudent to set another time for now. The reason Cannon said is that oh my God. The reason Cannon said is that there are still, okay, so it's not me, it's them. It's them. The sentence literally reads, the reason Cannon said is that there are still. That wasn't me. They're the ones that are doing that. Is that there are still. Okay. The reason Cannon said is that there are still myriad of and interconnected issues that the judge herself must rule on. In other words, the trial cannot begin because Cannon has not finished the work that she imposed on herself on question raised by Trump defense's team. Per Vance, we'd be routinely denied hearings by anyone else. If it was anybody else, the stuff would have been denied already. But because it's Trump, it isn't. When people say the fight is fixed, this is the type of stuff they are talking about. Former Justice Department spokesperson Anthony Cooley said on MSNBC, you have a woman here who intentionally appears to be dragging her feet, he observed, arguing Cannon is less an objective judge and more someone who appears to be a MAGA activist in a black robe. That's what they see her as, a MAGA activist in a black robe. So with that being said, the Florida case, like I said, pretty much isn't happening. It doesn't look like that's really happening at all. The Georgia case isn't going to happen before the election. And as it pertains to the New York case, as it pertains to the hush money trial, it's looking like that's not going to go their way in the courtroom. They're not really sure, but the left isn't necessarily so confident. They're not very confident about it. And even outside of their lack of confidence of things going their way, as it pertains to the desired effect that they wish it would have on the people, as it pertains to this supposedly bad press was supposed to push people away from Trump. In many regards, it appears to be happening the reverse effect. And more people appear to be supporting him because they feel as if the hush money trial is a waste of time and it's nonsense. Now what I want to do is get into Symone Sanders, right? Because a lot of this information that I've been coming across as it pertains to those in mainstream media who are very adamant in the want, need, and desire for Trump to have these top trials move forward so that he could be found guilty. A lot of the angst we see with this comes from MSNBC. MSNBC is very much so a DNC network. It's an unapologetic DNC network.
Yeah.
It's unapologetic DNC network. So you'll see oftentimes they're the ones who are the most animated concerning anything revolving Trump. And we're going to see that here right now with Symone Sanders. We're going to watch that here with her right now because she knows that her job is on the line. It's on the line. So let's get into this in closing.
For the people that are watching.
Let me rewind that back just a little bit.
Everyone should have the opportunity to be the best version of themselves. With all the advancements in modern technology, improving your smart.
For the people that are watching this at home and they are saying, Michael Steele is right. Donald Trump has been able to game the system. And now the only case that the American people are going to see adjudicated before them, and they're going to have to read about it because we can't watch it, is this case, a 2016 election interference case in about falsified documents and the cover-up in Manhattan. And we don't know what the jury is going to do on that. We don't know if they're going to go so far and say, yes, he was trying to cover it up and he did these bad things. They may not get to all of those things.
So you see, they're very concerned that the case in and of itself is not going to go the way that they thought it was. It's not a slam dunk at all. By any means is it a slam dunk. Let me wind that back just a little bit.
To cover it up and he did these bad things. They may not get to all of those things. They may not come down on that. So it's very disconcerting because we witnessed all of these things. We saw him do it. We saw him hold the documents. We saw him. We heard him on the tape.
Her voice is extremely annoying.
These things. We saw him do it. We saw him hold the documents. We saw him. We heard him on the tape.
But there is hope, though.
Where?
At the end of the day, I mean, this.
There's not going to be any hope for your job. Your job is definitely on the line. There's no hope for that.
Because we, the people, we are going to have to hope, though.
Where?
At the end of the day, I mean, this is we, the people. We are going to have to step up and vote in historic numbers, Symone. We did it in 20.
Did we really vote in historic numbers the first time around? Did we really vote in historic numbers the first time around? I'm still trying to figure that out. You know, if those historic numbers were, on the up and up. I don't know. I don't want to say too much because you get in trouble for that on YouTube. But were those historic numbers for real? Were they for real? I don't know.
Going to have to step up and vote in historic numbers, Symone. We did it in 2024. This man has never gotten more than 47% of the vote. Now, it's going to be a close election. It always is, right? But for 44,000 votes in 3 states, Donald Trump would be president right now. So we can't be comfortable. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the people to do what we do in democracy. And that's to go to the polls and historic numbers.
I want to play what he just said again one more time in closing. I want to listen to that for myself one more time.
People, we are going to have to step up and vote in historic numbers, Symone. We did it in 2024. This man has never gotten more than 47% of the vote. Now, it's going to be a close election. It always is, right? But for 44,000 votes in 3 states, Donald Trump would be president right now. So we can't be comfortable.
44,000 votes in 3 states is the reason that Donald Trump isn't president right now, according to what he's saying.
Now, it's going to be a close election. It always is, right? But for 44,000 votes in 3 states, Donald Trump would be president right now. So we can't be comfortable. But at the
44,000 votes in 3 states. And I've been saying this so many times in the pre-recorded videos, right? Outside of the live stream, the today's news videos. if 44,000 votes is essentially what kept Trump out of the White House, as he's saying here, then with all that Biden has on his back, with the alleged, I gotta say alleged, because with black folks, I gotta see it to believe it, because you all know the voting Democrat is a religion. But with allegedly somewhere around 20% of black people are allegedly going to vote Republican. We'll see about that. We'll see if that pans out. But they are having trouble with the black vote. I don't know if it's going to be 20% worth of trouble, but they are. But with that, as well as having some trouble with the Hispanic vote, and with the young vote is essentially out the window. The youth, they're all into the what's going on over in the Middle East, and the young vote, the youth vote, is pretty much gone completely. I do not see a path to victory for Biden. The only path to victory that I see him having, as I stated in almost every video now, is that 2020 magic. And we all know what that 2020 magic is. And I'm not even going to repeat what the 2020 magic is. I'm not going to, because I say it so much. If you want to know what the 2020 magic is, then you got to ask somebody in the comment section, and somebody will inform you. And trust me, I'll be repeating the 2020 magic theory all year, which isn't really a theory, But yeah, if Biden isn't able to pull off that 2020 magic again, I don't see how he wins. It's not possible. It's not possible. If 44,000 votes is what kept Trump out, and he's having this much trouble with the black vote, the Hispanic vote, and the youth vote, the young voters, it's over. Yep. It's over. Trump's going to win easily, unless Biden's able to, sprinkle some of that 2020 magic on it again, But we'll see what happens. Overnight. We'll see what happens. And with all that being said, that does it for today's show. Real quickly too, before I end it, going back to Symone Sanders, like I said, her job is on the line. You see them get this animated coming this close to election season, because the only reason Symone Sanders is sitting in the seat that she's sitting in now on MSNBC is because of her loyalty towards Biden during the election of 2020. How many of you all remember when she literally tackled a protester who was running up on stage to approach Biden? She tackled the protester. She reacted faster than Secret Service. Yep. Symone Sanders literally reacted faster than Secret Service. Yep. A protester went on stage and tried to approach Biden. She tackled him like a linebacker. That's what I said. Secret Service couldn't even get to that guy fast enough. Symone Sanders, boom, got him out of there. She was loyal to the soil for Biden. So loyal. And what she was really hoping for was that she was going to get that White House press secretary job. Yeah, that Karine Jean-Pierre has. She was really hoping that she would get that job, but she didn't get it. Instead, they gave her this kind of flim-flam, fugazi, made-up position with Kamala Harris. I don't even remember what it was called. And then when everybody started leaving Kamala Harris's office, all of her aides and whatnot, it was the same time that Symone Sanders got the call to do this show on MSNBC, which comes on the weekend. It's some show that nobody watches. That's why I don't even know the name of it. I think it's just called Symone, if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, trust and believe. If Trump wins, she's out. Yep. Because MSNBC essentially is just a DNC network. It's obvious. They're very unapologetic about that. Yep. Just like, and if Trump wins within the first year of Trump's administration, new administration, they're going to pull her out of there, and they're going to rearrange their roster to get ready for the 2026 midterms. Mark my words, she'll be out there before the 2026 midterm. They're going to rearrange the roster. And after that, she'll just go away forever. You won't really see or hear from her anymore. So she's very concerned about that because she wants to keep her job. She's eating very well. She gets paid very well. So you're going to see a lot more of that kind of outrage and angst coming from her in the future. But with all that being said, that does it for today's show. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. Shout out to my man Saul for coming through as he always does. He says, just here to show support. Shout out to Lloyd Sky 9, who says salute. your highly informative stream. I appreciate you, Lloyd Sky9, and I appreciate you guys sitting with me through that last article where I was glitching out pretty bad. It wasn't really, it was written kind of flim flam and fugazi too. That one last sentence at the end, they wrote it backwards. So it wasn't all me, but I don't know. It looks like I might still need a system update, another one. They might need to update my programming in Russia. You know, shout out to Kurt Alton. He said, drop and replay gang in advance. You're competing with Tim Blacc reviews right now, but I just want to show love. I appreciate you coming through, Kirk, and showing love to the stream. And shout out to Tim Blacc too. Shout out to Tim Blacc. I'm sure he's doing his thing over there on his channel. So once again, thank you all for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Hit the like button on your way out. Follow me on share this video on your social media platform.
But yeah, as you can see on the screen, these motherfuckers have lists of demands for the mayor, y'all. The entitlement is real. These illegals, something else. As far as Symone Mammy Sanders, good riddance. Never was a fan. Really never was. And she showed how much of a mammy coonstress, as Lady Che would say, she was during that first election. So yeah, she's never been a friend to Black people. She's gonna go all out for Zaddy. So moving along, we got Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York State. And our good brother Professor Black Truth gonna give us an update on that. Her racism, white supremacy is nothing new. She slipped up during an AI summit or conference and said some pretty stupid and racist shit about Black youth. Said something about they didn't know what computer was in the Bronx, how to use a computer, or just stupid shit. So Press Massachusetts going to give us an update on that. And then 50 Cent is the first out of New York that I know of that has gone to the defense of the Black kids that were attacked by the Karen governor, Kathy Hochul. So let that play. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to Front Line Blacc News and the Revolutionary Agenda.
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth.
Right now we have, young Black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them.
You can be disgusted, but you certainly can't be surprised. The reason Governor Hochul's racist remarks immediately got people's attention is because it was so strange to have said what she said when she said it. I mean, it was totally out of nowhere. But was it really? Because her remarks reminded me of Cliven Bundy. Remember him? When he was surrounded by the feds, under siege, and yet his white privilege protected him, so no worries there. But while he was talking to the white media about his federal problems out of the blue, just out of nowhere, for no reason at all, he suddenly switched to, and another thing about the Negroes.
Let me talk to you about the Mexicans. These are just things I know about the Negro. I want to tell you one more thing I know about the Negro. When I go through Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and I would see these little government houses, and I've often wondered, are they better off as slaves, picking cotton, having family life and doing things, or are they better off under government subsidy?
These white supremacists obsess about us. That's what they do. They cannot stop thinking about us. We are an unholy fixation for them. Actually, we're probably the only holy thing in their pathetic lives.
Right.
But here he is, facing almost certain death at the hands of the feds, or at the very least facing a lot of guns. And in the midst of all that, he decides that's the time to say, about these Negroes. Yeah, it's never the wrong time or the wrong place to take shots at Black people. That's what Kathy Hochul sounded like. She was talking about a supercomputer for New York and all the benefits it would bring. And then out of nowhere, Black kids in the Bronx don't even know what the word computer means. First of all, that shows that Black people are front of mind for her. Black people are like the third largest demographic in the city. And yet we are the first people on her mind. We live in her head full-time, rent-free. Well, we might as well live in her head. There's plenty of room. But this is how racists like Kathy Hochul are. They don't want to have to conceal their anti-Black hatred. They want you to know exactly what they think about you. So when they occasionally have these little gaffes, as the white media calls them, get real. These are not gaffes at all. It's them trying to get away with something. Now, as many high-profile Black people as you got who live in New York City and do business there, you would think that there would be a foot race to see which Black person could denounce her first. I've heard that 50 Cent said one or two things, but that's pretty much about it. Of course, most of these comfortable Negroes get every crumb of their daily bread from the white economic and political structure, so they have no intention of rocking the boat. And that's why one of the white media's favorite professional butt kissers, Jonathan putting on his cape heart, was just sitting there beside Hochul, yucking it up, listening to Black children being insulted and degraded, and he was just smiling and having no problem with it at all. He wasn't scared to check her, necessarily, as much as he was totally accepting her blatant racist remarks. Hell, if you had confronted him about it, he would be the first one to make excuses for her. And if this is the kind of racism that he laughs off in public, we can only wonder what kind of racism is going on behind the scenes over at MSNBC or the Washington Post that he doesn't say anything about. When you're dealing with a bootlick, you're dealing with a brain-dead zombie. They take white supremacist abuse with a smile. Kathy Hochul sounds just like racist Rudy Giuliani and Mike the Bigot Bloomberg, so she can truthfully say she has a New York state of mind. But we aren't through yet. On cue, you got the bought and paid for bootlicks who are going to come running to the rescue for Miss Polly. This is where the corrupt New York State Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie comes in, and with a name like Heastie and his rather intersectional look, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say he's most likely a tether. He wanted to be the very first to say, oh, she's got a good heart. Y'all gonna leave Miss Polly alone. She didn't mean nothing by it. We should all just move on. And you know who else joined in with old Mr. Heastie to defend Governor Hochul? Al Sharpton. Yeah, you knew that one was coming. He said, quote, the governor might not have said it artfully, but a lot of our community is robbed of using social media because we are racially excluded from access. That's a good point for her to raise. She didn't say it artfully. There's no artful way to be racist. I mean, Joe Scarborough couldn't have put that deflection any better. Right. Yeah, now we know how Al Sharpton got his job on MSNBC and how he intends to keep it. He's going to be the official apologist for every act of anti-Black racism there is, especially if it comes from the Democrats. But if Fox News gives him a weekend gig, who knows? He might start defending the Republicans too. So this is Al Sharpton. This is what he's come to after all these decades. Those of us who looked at him and said, this dude's up to no good. This guy's greasy as hell. Here's your final verdict, folks. For those who are hoping that maybe Al Sharpton had one or two redeeming bones in that increasingly shrinking, scrawny body of his, this is the final verdict. He's a lost cause, always has been. Now, as Black people, this is the reason why it is so dangerous to have these bootlicks and tethers and all of these backstabbers being the ones who get put out front. We have to be fighting this stuff. Right. Because otherwise what happens is you let some two-bit chump like this Heastie character come along and he tells you, we need to produce for the Black community. And then as soon as your back is turned right after the election, the only one he's producing for is himself. And he will ignore every insult, every slight, every bit of disrespect from the white power structure because that's who he wants to ingratiate himself with. And if the people do not give him immediate and severe consequences for this treason, then this is going to encourage every Tom, Dick, and Harry turncoat to go ahead and do the same. And that's exactly what we've been suffering with. But believe it or not every tether felt that this was the time and place to stick up for her. No less than Karine St-Pierre was asked about this fiasco by the White House press corps, and this was her response.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul made a controversial comment yesterday at the Milken Institute Global Conference while discussing the need to bring AI jobs to Black and Brown communities. She said, right now we have young Black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. What is the White House response to that?
I'm going to be super mindful. I have not heard these comments, so I want to make sure I go back, read the comments, and get a sense of what was happening here. So I don't want to comment and be really mindful speaking at this podium on behalf of this president. So I just want to go back and see exactly. I know you're reading an excerpt or a line from what she said, but I just want to be super, super mindful here.
Oh, see how they run. She lied through her teeth and claimed that she hadn't seen the video. Oh, I'm sorry. She hadn't read the interview, and she wasn't going to speak for the president on that issue. But that, of course, didn't stop her from saying, I'll get back to you about that. Now, that deflection of hers came off her tongue real easy, didn't it? Yeah. So that means that she rehearsed it. The White House got together because they knew that this question was coming, and they practiced what the lie was going to be. And it was decided that she should say she hadn't read the interview, and she just wanted to make sure that she went back and read the comments for herself before speaking on it. Well, that was a week ago. So Karine Stank-Pierre has had a week now to watch the video, read the interview, but she hasn't come back or said a word about it. And neither has anyone else in Biden's White House. So it was a lie. Big surprise. It was pathetically obvious she's lying. She's trying to deflect, dodge the question. What they're hoping for is to buy the White House some time. Hopefully the white media will have moved on to the next story. And if Karine does get asked about it again in the future, she'll just claim it's old news. And this way they won't have to actually denounce Hochul. That's what this is about. And of course, the White House press corps, though press whores would be far more accurate, they'll just let her say whatever. Maybe they'll come back to this, maybe they won't, but either way, they aren't really serious about asking the tough questions. They just want to look like they are. So here we had Karine trying to lean on the weakest crutch of all, the old, she was taken out of context line. That's what this is. Well, maybe she was taken out of context. I have to see what the context was. You don't need to go back and watch anything to know that Kathy Hochul is a vile racist. Right. I remind you that after the murder of Jordan Neely, Hochul was practically the first New York politician to jump in front of the cameras and defend that heinous killing. Yep. She said, well, there's consequences for behavior.
No, people, there's consequences for behavior. And I look at it more closely to find out whether the state has a role. People who've been out on parole have different consequences, and a judge can make a decision on whether to hold someone, or a DA can make a decision to charge them. But in a case where someone is on parole, then the state has an ability, as we've done before in more serious cases, to ensure that someone is held during pending the outcome of the episode. But no, that was deeply disturbing, and that causes a lot of fear in people. And actually, the mayor and I are working so hard to restore that sense of safety. We have the cameras on the subways. We have more police officers. We're assisting with overtime. We've been doing so much. And the numbers have been improving. The number of crimes on subways has been declining. And I don't want people to feel anxious again when something like that comes to light. It is deeply disturbing.
She only walked it back after the public got on her butt about it. So this piece of trash has a history of denigrating and dehumanizing Black people. And why are the Democrats not telling her that she has to resign? Because this is part of the Democrats' own internal efforts to push back against the Black community. From Obama's constant condescension and talking down to us to Biden's outright insults. These are not accidents. Right. The Republicans' ability to pass racist legislation isn't happening despite the Democrats. It's happening because of them. Yeah. This is the uniparty. Republicans pass the laws that white power wants, and the Democrats make a few empty peeps about being humane and what would Dr. King think, so that they can schmooze us into sitting on our hands while all this mess goes down. And now, inevitably, the Democrats are joining in with the attacks because too many Black people have begun to push back. They have to. This is the Democratic Party showing that they cannot stand the Black community and never could. To them, we're just useful idiots, and as long as we go along with the get along and refuse to make the bastards pay, they'll be right. We will be abused, and we will be active collaborators in our abuse because we are not fighting back against the abusers. So from LA to New York, we got all of these Democrat politicians coast to coast taking aim at us. First, it was racist Latino politicians in LA singling us out, saying that Black people have to be shut out of power in the city. Now we got a white woman in New York saying Black children don't even know what a computer is. And rather than having a tsunami of Democrat politicians actually calling her out, instead, the reaction has been largely crickets. Yep. So you got these politicians coast to coast, people who are supposed to be among what white supremacy has classified as minorities, and yet these same people talk about Black folks no differently than any other white supremacist male does. The Democrats do have us in an abusive relationship, but we have to take responsibility for the part that we've played in tolerating it. If we exercised a zero tolerance policy for disrespect the same way we don't take disrespect from other Black folks, then nobody would dare to form their lips to say anything about us. Right. And no, the problem isn't that Black people are scared of punishment from the white supremacist system. Black people get sent to prison every single day, and that doesn't seem to scare us at all. So what the world are we scared of? We have been conditioned over the course of the last half millennium to be terrified of incurring disapproval from the white power structure. We live in fear of that. We don't want the massa to look at us with anything other than adoration, though he never adores us. Instead, we just get abused. We allowed this to happen, but it's not too late for us to decide to make a change. Not too late for us to turn this one around. Disengaging from being politically loyal is key. We have to be honest about how thoroughly riddled we are with bootlicks and sellouts, though. Practically every political office that we have the ability to hold has already been captured by some stooge for white supremacy, like this Heastie character and Officer Eric Adams of the NYPD. We have to change the political calculus from our end. Negroes who are in the hip pocket of white power are making a bet. They've already calculated that we may give them a few scornful looks or remarks, but it won't amount to much more than that. We certainly won't remove them from office. Come election time, we'll go ahead and vote for them again because, well, reasons. And this is why they think that ignoring us, letting us be attacked, is a victimless crime. Karen Bass has done what they all want to do. She's gotten into office without having to make any promises to the Black community, without even being beholden to the Black community in Los Angeles. As far as she's concerned, she's put together the perfect political coalition, one that doesn't leave her vulnerable to Black people's political demands. She doesn't have the threat of Black political discontent hanging over her head. To these bootlicks, white supremacy isn't the problem. In fact, they want to have a comfortable place under white supremacy. To them, white supremacy is the solution. The problem is Black people who keep putting pressure on them to challenge the enemy. And this makes them uncomfortable. They'd much rather just take orders from Massa and get their dirty money and make sure their brats get patronage jobs like Jim Clyburn's kid does, and that they get as much out of this dirty system as possible. They're not trying to change it. They're trying to promote it, trying to extend white supremacy, and trying to reinforce it. Yes, Kathy Hochul should be immediately yanked from office and thrown out on the street on her wrinkled racist behind. But we're kidding ourselves if we don't realize that most of these Negroes we got running around have to be thrown out of office right along with her. Fighting white supremacy with these bootlicks around is worse than trying to fight a war with one arm tied behind our backs. We're trying to fight a war while we got enemy agents surrounding us, shooting at us.
Yep.
We have to learn how to organize where we are, because make no mistake, if you're angry about this, you're not the only Black person who feels this way. Nothing is going to be coming from the top down. That's why we call ourselves the Black grassroots, right? Because it comes from the soil. Change begins from the bottom up, and that means you. A lot of Black people would instinctively understand that she needs to go, but they're waiting for some Black person to be the first to step across that line, be the first one to go ahead and say the unspoken. But the time to prepare to remove these racist creeps is before they do some reprehensible act. Though for those of you who think that we might be a little bit late to the punch on this one, don't fear. We'll have future opportunities to get our ducks in a row. This isn't the first racist attack that Kathy Hochul's launched against us, and it won't be the last. But for our sakes, let's start focusing on teaching the Kathy Hochuls of the world what the word recalled means.
That's right.
Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors: Jacques Hargett, Richard Allen Lavelle, Max Greedy, L. Wilson, and Darren Nooks. Salute to them, and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Choose your ideal firmness. Visit sleepnumber.com.
50 Cent.
All right, so the next video is 50 Cent coming to the defense of the Black kids, Black children, after Karen Hochul made those racist remarks during an AI conference.
I want to highlight this. Earlier in the week, 50 Cent had to defend Black children because the New York governor said this. Here it is.
Young Black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges.
Come on, Governor Kathy. Put it up for a mass. I'm going to highlight why this nuance and this context is so dangerous, but it can seem very subtle. If you don't pay attention to it, it'll get right past you. Queens rapper 50 Cent took to social media to slam the New York governor for saying that young Black youth in the Bronx, they don't know what a computer is. Governor made the erroneous and what some believed racially charged statement on Monday, May 6th, at the Milken Institute Global Conference in California. Per the AP, the governor made the comment while being interviewed at the conference to discuss expanding economic opportunities in artificial intelligence for low-income communities. The remark was not addressed during the interview, as the governor explained her goal is to provide avenues for communities of color to access emerging AI technologies as a means to address social inequality. Now, that is the contextualization that most people would have taken from that statement, okay? The reality is there is a digital divide. There's an AI divide. I work in that space as well. We do intentional things through Rolling Out Magazine to make sure we bring people in the room together to grant disenfranchised communities, historically marginalized communities, opportunities that they do not have to pay for in order to bridge that divide. But if you start from the premise of the lack of access or lack of knowledge, and you provide this very broad stroke, you're not dealing with the cause, you're dealing with the effect, and you are generalizing the effect while ignoring the cause. Understand this, they are in that position, whoever may be in a position of lack because of a design. It's a cause. This is the effect of that cause. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. There's more. Per the Daily Beast, her gaffe, however, quickly drew condemnation from Bronx elected officials. New York Assembly member Karine Rise on the left said she was, quote, deeply disturbed by the governor's remarks and shared a statement from a colleague, Amanda Septim on the right, describing the governor's words as, quote, harmful, deeply misinformed, and genuinely appalling. Now, later that same day, the governor apologized for her remarks. Quote, earlier today, while discussing my commitment to expanding economic opportunity for communities of color, I misspoke and I regret it. Of course, Black children in the Bronx know what computers are. The problem is that they too often lack access to the technology needed to get back on track to high-paying jobs in emerging industries like AI. Can I give a round of applause to the communications director for the governor? Because that's who wrote that. Okay? Governor should have said that the first time. This is about them, young folk, having access. And we're going to be intentional about making sure they get it. On Wednesday, May 8th, okay? G-Unit leader commented on the news post regarding the topic. Sad face emoji. I don't know any Black kids that don't know what a computer is in the Bronx. Shrugging his shoulder emoji. What the? They know how to work an iPad better than me. He wrote in the since deleted comment in a separate post hours later. He said, I couldn't believe she said that. End quote. You got to think about the insanity of this. Okay, a cell phone is a computer. Just think about what qualifies as a computer today. And saying that they don't even know what a computer is such a statement of, it shows where you are in your understanding of the community. And it also is a non-serious statement to a very serious matter. If they didn't even know what a computer is, you definitely cannot take them to AI advanced technology. So naturally, they know what a computer is if you're talking about connecting them to AI technologies. There's more. Within the past few months, 50 Cent has been vocal, actually, about New York City political affairs. In February, the veteran rapper expressed concern over New York Mayor Eric Adams' proposal to give $53 million in cashback cars to economically disadvantaged immigrants. The proposal aimed to help provide relief amid the massive flood of immigrants the city has housed since last year. In a post on X, 50 Cent wrote, quote, I talked to Mayor Adams. He broke down why his pilot program was put in place. He appeared to be on point and on top of things. Now I want to talk to the governor about the laws preventing him from doing the things to make the situation better in New York. Raised eyebrow emoji. And where the proposed $2.4 billion she's planning on spending on migrants is coming from. And then he says, not my taxes. Contextualization of his argument may not be completely agreed with. Now, Atlanta Black Star notes 50 Cent moved to Houston, Texas in 2021. but still seems to have vested interest in his hometown. He has lived in and owns properties, according to riches.com, in South Jamaica, Queens, where he grew up, Saddle River, New Jersey, Atlanta, Hollywood Hills, California, Long Island, Farmington, Connecticut, and vacation homes in both Cancun, Mexico, and South Africa. He recently unveiled his GU production studio in Louisiana. It is not clear how actively involved he is in any of the politics in those locations. So I don't need clones to understand what somebody has created a synergy. And I agree with 50 Cent in the comment about the governor. I can't believe she said that. And let me take it a step further. I can't believe she said that and the person interviewing her allowed it.
Right.
Like, wait a minute, Governor. They know what computers are, Governor. All right, we got to be serious about this conversation because it's a very serious matter. All right, there it is. That's the highlight. Senator Turner, thoughts?
Yeah, good on 50 Cent. I'm glad he's getting involved. I want to see more of our artists get involved. We know there was a period of time where athletes, artists, people like Harry Belafonte in the fight, baby. People like Muhammad Ali in the fight, and so many others. I'm just giving those two as an example. So good on 50 for jumping into the fray on a myriad of issues, and it don't matter where he lives. He's a citizen of this nation and a citizen of this world, and for him to use his cachet to set people straight. Big ups to those Democratic elected officials, because oftentimes, viewers, as you know, people don't often chastise or straighten out the people in their own party. So I'm really glad to see those leaders let this governor know that what you said was racist. I also tweeted and said, you know what, let's treat her like we would treat a Republican who said the same thing. Right. You got to admonish her. You got to let her know what you said was not right. She got to straighten up. So you're right. Kudos to her comms person for getting it right. And you know what, Doc, it's a soft bigotry kind of thing. And I use the word soft. I'm gonna put some air quotes on that because bigotry is bigotry. And they think they can get away with saying this stuff about Black people. What she said, in my mind, is really no different than what President Joseph R. Biden said to Charlemagne the God during the 2020 presidential election cycle, and felt very comfortable saying it, just like she did. So these liberal types, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. indicted them in a very strong way. I recommend people reread the letter to the Birmingham jail. Minister Malcolm X laid it out about the dangers that liberals pose to Black liberation. These are yet two examples of many that people like Governor Hochul don't even give it a second thought. And my last point, Doc, you are absolutely right. Look, the phone is a computer. These kids are born knowing how. I mean, I got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old in my life, and I agree with 50. Shoot, they know how to work that iPad like they was born with it. I mean, they be swiping their little hearts out. They know what to do. They even know how to tell it to verbally say to it, search for this and search for that. And they're 2 and 4. So it is an unfortunate comment, but it is the reason why we have to raise this issue, because I don't want people, y'all just nitpicking. Oh no, we have to raise this issue because Black people always have to prove, and we're always the punching bag for so many people. Those poor little Black people, they don't know what they're doing, but they need us. They need us, good white folks, to help them out. That's really how her comment came off, and she needs to be checked for that. And hopefully she won't do it again. And again, kudos to 50 Cent and those Democrats who stood up against this Democrat governor for her bigoted, uninformed remarks.
That's right. Well said. Implicit bias, hyperaggression, or aggressive bias. It doesn't matter at the end of the bias. The result is the exact same. And that is a biased product, a biased policy product. And that's what we want to steer away from. Big ups to 50 for what he has done.
Amazing got Gabriella to the school dance. Amazing starts at CSL Plasma. Donate plasma today and receive up to $700 your first month. You can help create medicines that save lives while making a difference in your own. CSL Plasma. Do the amazing.
Yeah, I got banned from there like 10 years ago.
So glad I remembered Uber Eats has office supplies, but I feel like I'm forgetting some.
Okay, so they pretty much summed up everything I was going to say about the bride. So yeah, the hell with her. I guess shout out to those Democrats that stood up against the other Democrat. But to hell with the Democrats and Republicans, we independents over here. And those could be racist. And shout out to 50 Cent for checking her on that. It's a shame more didn't. They'll probably come out the woodwork now. So moving along to the last two topics of the night. And that is 21-year-old jail for 10 days after oversleeping and missing jury duty. And then the damn Papa John's original owner criticizes Shaq's role as face of Papa John's, and he calls it racism or racist. It's Lisa again. Thank you for staying up late with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I really feel bad for this young man. He's 21 years old. He was supposed to report to jury duty and he accidentally overslept. And because he did that, they're jailing him for 10 days. To me, this is not worth jailing a person over. Right. This should be no more than a fine.
Right.
That's it. It should not be a jailable offense. But see, these folks make jail out of everything. That's why this is the jail capital of the globe. America will jail you for stupid shit.
Yep.
And on top of that, they will jail you for no reason at all. This is why exonerations are always going on in this country, because they have no shame about jailing people over a bunch of nothing. Yeah. They have no shame about calling the police over a bunch of nothing. Mm-hmm. They have no problem with exploiting the whole criminal justice system just because they hate someone over their skin. Mm-hmm. See, that's why the criminal justice system is jacked up in America. It is really like a functional alcoholic. That's what their criminal justice system is. Mm-hmm. It really needs to be dismantled because it is really in horrible shape. And it's been poorly ran. It's been ran on the guise of it's being crime when it's a lot of their biases that play a heavy role in who gets jailed up in this country. Their biases actually control the criminal justice system. That's why you got so many Black men being exonerated. It's not no crime. It's their biases. Okay. They can't help but throw that in everything. So this should be fines, not jail. It is a non-violent offense, just like the big reason why most Black men are in jail in America, for non-violent offenses. Yep. And they give you these astronomical sentences. This is ridiculous. It really is. So this happened in great old Florida, y'all. Great old Florida. DeAndre Somerville, he's from West Palm Beach, Florida, was sworn in as a juror and scheduled to appear in court for a civil rights case in August of 2019. The 21-year-old was absent in court that day, which he later explained it was due to missing his alarm and oversleeping. So at the time, he hadn't fully understood the implications of a juror being absent at a trial. So he didn't bother to call the courthouse and clear things up. When he woke up, he got ready and headed off to West Palm Beach Parks and Recreation Department, where he works as an after-school. He works in an after-school program there. Well, the judge had a problem with what happened. So according to WPTV, Somerville was sentenced to 10 days in jail and 150 hours of community service and a year of probation. Okay, and this is to prove what? And this is to prove what? See, there are certain crimes in America that should not be jailable.
Right.
You know, this is why they like the nonviolent crimes on the books, because that's the biggest thing they can get you on. They can't get you on anything else. That's why they like that crap on the book. This, if he's not committing the most heinous crime out here, this should not be jailable. This is waste of time and taxpayer money. That's why you have alternates. If something happens to one of your jurors, you always have an alternate that can step in. It certainly shouldn't be the end of the world. He was also required to present a written apology with at least 100 words to the court and pay a fine of $233. And that should have been the end. That should have been the end. So Somerville is fighting hard to have the charges dropped and his record cleared. Even though he has served the 10-day term, he was scheduled to be in court at 9 a.m. the day he missed jury duty. He woke up at 11:30 a.m. He didn't think it was important to call the court bailiff. At work, I was going to look on my phone thinking, what's the worst case scenario that could happen? I thought maybe I would get a fine or something like that, Somerville said in a phone interview. Somerville lives with his grandparents, where he helps to look after his aged grandfather and grandmother. Is at work. So he's been playing basketball, and when he received a call from his grandmother that there was a police officer with a court summons for him. My grandfather said, just go in and be honest, said Somerville. I never had a criminal background, never been arrested, never been in handcuffs. The most I've ever gotten was a traffic ticket. So I was thinking it wouldn't be that bad. He went on to court, a free man that day, and was led out in handcuffs and began his jail sentence. Before my hearing, I walked into the courtroom, a free man with no criminal record. Somerville's letter to the court read, I left a criminal in handcuffs. It was an immature decision that I made, and I paid the price for my freedom. A fine, jail, I think that's extreme. I really do. I think a lot of their jailings around here are very extreme.
I agree.
And I think that's where the bulk of their money come from. They make a lot of money on jailing people, and I think the bulk of their money comes from all of these non-violent offenses, because it's almost like they just go after the most petty thing and throw people in there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, especially with the exoneration, they already know they put an innocent person in jail. You'll hear about the prosecutor hiding evidence. You'll hear about the cop hiding evidence or not presenting all the evidence to the prosecutor. You know, they play a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's hard to have respect for these people.
Right.
When you look over the history, past and present,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the kind of things they do to get people in jail that are innocent and accusing them of, you know, how do you continue to respect that?
Right.
Seriously, how do you continue to respect this when you keep repeatedly seeing it, which means they have no intentions on fixing it. And if they have no intentions on fixing it, then I don't have to respect your system.
Right.
So Somerville plans to go to school and pursue his firefighter dream soon. Social media users are campaigning for the conviction to be dropped. And many said his offense was merely a misdemeanor and it did not warrant the punishment he received. His new rap sheet will affect his college application, interviews, and employment prospects. I now have a record. I almost feel like a criminal now. Now I have to explain this in every interview, Somerville said. According to WPTV, his friends and family vouched for the young man's character, stating that he volunteers for charity work in the community. They don't care about that, especially from a Black man. They don't care about that. Somerville's lawyer pleaded to have his case withdrawn from the court when he was released 10 days later, although the judge insisted that his offense was a serious one. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. That's why you have alternates.
Exactly.
It wasn't that serious. It should have been an alternate that stood in his spot when he was not there. That's not that serious.
Right.
So the sentence was reduced from 150 hours of community service to 30 hours. There should be no hours. It should have just been a fine.
Right.
In addition to this, Somerville would be required to deliver weekly 10-minute talks with the jury office on the importance and the seriousness of jury duty. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. I came to the conclusion that it was deserving of punishment. Good people make bad mistakes. Records from the court show that the conviction had been withheld, and the judge is willing to entertain the notion to drop the conviction. Well, it should be dropped because it's stupid. No more than a fine, and that's it. All of this other extra stuff, this is all y'all do because everybody that goes in that jail, you're making money off of them. That's why you reduce them back down to being a slave, and they have no rights when they go in there, because at the end of the day, you never ended slavery in America.
Nope.
And number two, when something is this petty, it shouldn't go beyond a fine.
Right.
It should not go beyond a fine. Y'all gonna have to tell me what you think about this one. I think it's ridiculous, and I think the judge's ruling is ridiculous too. You know, if America, if you want to change things in your system, start by eliminating all of these petty crimes as jailable offenses. You can start there. Please leave your comment.
Yeah, please do the same for Front Line Blacc News and the Revolutionary Agenda. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with everything Lisa was saying. It's over 1 million laws on the books, Black family, and that's to control us. Because after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the average white citizen couldn't control the Negroes, So that's why it's a heavy presence of police, and it still is to this day in our communities. And like Shabaka always says, why is the crime rate so high? Because the police is in cahoots with the criminals. So it's definitely a criminal syndicate, a criminal operation, criminal system. They keep saying it's justice, but it's just us, Black family. It's just us. So yeah, this is ridiculous. Brother should have just got a fine, like Lisa Cabrera said, and went about his day. Instead, they're gonna jail him for 10 days. And now he got a criminal record, so he was trying to get into these colleges, these big schools, and now he got to explain this shit every day. So they just run this brother for life behind it. But that's what they go out their way to do, to keep us from prospering. So yeah, I hope he sues the hell out of them. So down to the last topic of the night, and that is Papa John's owner criticizes Shaq's role as face of Papa John's and calls it racist. So Papa John's is a pizza chain, and The original owner was suing them. So he got bought out his own company. Like forced out his own company. So he's like, they using Shaq to cover it up. So Alicia's gonna give us an update on that.
Y'all remember this person, John Schnatter? He used to be part of Papa John's. And, you know, he got called out on racism on more than one occasion. And it all started when Colin Kaepernick and other players were taking a knee. He made a comment about it. And then there was the infamous phone conference when the N-word was used.
Yep.
So he's no longer the face of Papa John's, but he is saying the fact that they replaced him with Shaq is racist. This is what he is saying. These people really seriously got a lot of nerve.
Right.
They really, truly do, y'all. I'm going to let you listen to this video, and I'll be right back with the rest of my commentary.
What do you think about, and not to, but let's just talk. What do you think about the move of trying to make Shaq the face of Papa John's Pizza?
I think of all the things, that was the most racist. They're going to use a black guy to cover up what they did to a white guy. That's racist. Now that's racist. And they did it right in front of America. You know, it was just a shield to cover up their infidelities and what they did to me.
Okay, so he thinks it's racist that he was replaced by a black man. No, actually, that's not racist at all. Do y'all remember not long ago, these folks used to always tell that same tired ass story, how they lost their job and got replaced by a less qualified black person. Y'all remember that? Until something came out debunking all of that, saying that the stories they were running around telling about being replaced by someone black were all bogus.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that? I know some of y'all remember that. So anyway, I never believed them when they were sitting there telling me that anyway. A couple of them would get in my face and just start telling me that as if I was asking about it. I was not asking your ass about that. So I don't know what you're doing in my face.
Right.
And number two, when you hear the same exact story over and over from a bunch of different people, you know it's a lie. That's how you know it's a lie. It just sounds too rehearsed. That's how that story would sound to me. And I never did believe, I didn't believe it the first time I heard it, and I didn't believe it the last time I heard it.
Right.
And number two, maybe you lost your job because you just wasn't cutting it every day. Maybe you were the problem, and that's why the company had to get rid of you. So let's get to this. Papa John Schnatter, he claims that it's racist to replace him with a black man. Really? So Schnatter, in all these years, y'all, he's still at war with Papa John. All these years later, he's still fighting with Papa John's. Schnatter, the founder of Papa John's Pizza, left the company back in 2018 after he faced internal backlash for using the N-word on a conference call. And boy, do I remember that. In fact, I think I had the actual recording in my video back then. Schnatter claims that the use of the N-word was taken out of context. You know what? I love when they always say a racial slur is taken out of context, and then they never explain how it was taken out of context. So we're just supposed to, I guess we're just supposed to take his word for it, right? I sure don't.
I say so.
Assured everyone that the day of reckoning was going to come down on Papa John's. The company has since moved on by making NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal the face of the brand. which didn't sit well with the company's founder. And he goes on, and you heard him in the video, of all things, that was the most racist. They used a black guy to cover up what they did to a white guy. Well, what did they do to you? You were sitting there being a racist at the company.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all, and if my memory serves me correct, after all of that happened, you lost a lot of revenue behind that. People were refusing to buy Papa John's pizza back then. I remember that.
Yep.
A lot of people that were eating that pizza stopped eating that pizza.
Yep.
You know, I was not a big Papa John's pizza fan in the first place.
Me either.
I just didn't like the way the pizza tasted.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I think the local shops, the pizza tastes better anyway.
Right.
Or if there's like a mom and pop shop around you, the pizza out of those joints tastes so much better than this manufactured pizza from places like Papa John's. That's just my opinion.
You're right.
You may feel differently. It was just never my favorite at all. He was just a shield to cover up for what they did to me, Schnatter said during an interview with Jason Whitlock, of all people, right? Schnatter alleges that he was set up by Papa John's executives who conspired against him after he publicly bashed the NFL for not handling the national anthem protesters. Yes. And you know what, y'all? That was the beginning of when people were refusing to buy Papa John's, because he was vocal about Colin Kaepernick and the other NFL players taking a knee. And right after he made that statement, people said they were not buying another drop of Papa John's pizza. And then when that phone conference happened, it was like an avalanche hit them. And Papa John's, man, nobody, it was like for a period of time, nobody was buying that pizza. He lost so much business. And that's why they got rid of him.
Yep.
He is talking as if, but you know, this is so typical of them folks. He is talking like they did this to him for no reason. No, there was a reason. And the reason was you were costing the company a lot of money from all of the racism that was coming from you. And see, I noticed in the interview, these folks are so typical. That's the part they leave out. You know, they did not push you aside for no reason, John Schnatter. But you're trying to make it seem that way.
Yeah, trying to play victim.
And he goes on to say, I fired Goodell. I got rid of them. That's on record. The NFL was playing dirty. Roger Goodell is a dirty guy. He's a coward. I don't want to be associated with it. I don't care how powerful they are. I don't want to be in business with the NFL. Well, for a long time, he was. You know, he was one of the sponsors. And it was a big thing to see the Papa John pizza ads during the football games.
Yeah.
You would always see it, you know, back then.
Mm-hmm.
So he is trying to act like he's getting a raw deal and he was mistreated and he got squeezed out of the company and replaced with Shaq. And that's such a racist thing. It was so wrong. But, you know, he's not really being forthright with the truth. And he's leaving out a lot of the racist things he did. And I remember all of us were doing videos on it back then because it was such big news when everything started unraveling for this man. So y'all, you're going to have to tell me what you think about this one. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see.
Yes. Please make sure y'all do the same for Frontline Black News and the Revolutionary Agenda. I agree wholeheartedly with everything that Lisa just said. in regards to this, with the Papa John's dude, he's trying to play victim. Now it's the victimizer wants to play victim. So now he's calling foul, and this is racist. He replaced me with a black man and all that dumb shit. We don't want to hear it, though. You got called out. It cost the company too much money, and you had to go. Plain and simple. I'm going to end it there. Appreciate y'all tapping in, staying up late with us. Make sure y'all check out the RBA, the Revolutionary Agenda, later on today now, since it's Wednesday now, or Tuesday now. Excuse me, it's Tuesday now. So check out the Revolutionary Agenda later on today. And Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced, Blog Talk, and Twitter now, and on StreamYard as well. Tomorrow evening, I think it's What We Do to Ourselves, the title. So please stay tuned for that. And like and subscribe to all of our platforms, Front Line Blacc News on YouTube and Facebook, the Revolutionary Agenda on YouTube and Facebook, and Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced on Facebook and Twitter, now X. So as you can see on the screen, I am running for House District 8 in the state of Colorado. Please support the campaign. I'm the only black first candidate or black candidate, period, on the ballot. So in a historically black district, we have to keep it that way. So we will see y'all then. So peace, love, light, reparations and separations, and black empowerment. We'll see y'all later for the RBA and Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. So peace from the mile high income and illegal migrant flooded city in the sundown town known as Aurora, Colorado, where Elijah McClain was killed. Peace.